I refused to continue providing free childcare to my stepdaughter because they don't respect me.
Respect my authority.
I did a work program with a local clerk of the court's office when I was in high school. They hired me when I graduated, and I had my 30 service years before I turned 50. With 30 service years, you can get your full pension at any age. By the way, this comes from user PainComfortable8891, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I worked until my first grandchild was born. Then I retired to be grandma daycare. I have 5 grandchildren, 8-year-old male from my stepson, 7-year-old male from my son, 5-year-old female, and 18-month male from my daughter. That is 4. So, I babysat all of them with no issues or complaints. I still keep the 18-month-old Monday through Friday, and the older ones summer and school holidays. My stepdaughter and her boyfriend have been nonstop drama since before the baby was born. When she was 10 weeks pregnant, they presented a 3-page list of rules for when I was babysitting.
3 pages.
They said if I didn't sign it, they wouldn't allow me to babysit. I said that I understood their need to do what was best for their baby, and I assured them that there would be no hurt feelings on my end when they made other childcare arrangements.
So OP was like, that's cool for a different babysitter. I'm not going to help out.
They're like, hey, you can go ahead and do that whenever you want when it's not me. So some of the rules were almost understandable, but most were downright ridiculous, and none of it was going to work for me.
Oh, I'm so excited for these examples.
Yeah, I don't remember them all, but some examples are, I can't take the baby anywhere without their permission. I can't watch more than one additional child while babysitting. I can't cook. I had to provide the full name, date of birth, and address of any potential visitors ahead of time for their approval of the person being around their child. They have to know anytime I have a guest over and know who it is and how long they stay, which honestly, that seems normal. My 9-year-old cat would have to be kept out of the rooms where my baby would be, even when the baby wasn't there. I couldn't get another pet without their agreement.
Real quick. Overbearing, some may say. Overbearing, some may say. However, it is your child.
True.
And so if that is what you want, feels valid. Also, if OP doesn't want to abide by those rules, that seems also valid of like, that's too much for me. I don't have the capacity to follow all of that.
Yeah, you just say,
like,
hey, you should free probably to find someone
different sitter.
When she was 7 months pregnant, she came back with some revised rules in an attempt to compromise. I again let them know that their expectations were just not going to fit within my life and they should just find another childcare solution. 2 days after my stepdaughter went back to work, she called and asked if I could keep Cullen the next day, which I'm assuming is the baby. I agreed, but made it clear that I was going to provide safe, appropriate care according to my judgment, and I wasn't going to deal with the complaints or whatever that I was violating their rules because I wanted it very clear that I was not agreeing to any of that. My stepdaughter was okay on the days she picked Cullen up and dropped him off. I felt like she was interrogating me every time she picked him up, but it was tolerable. Her boyfriend, however, was downright rude. It got to the point where I actually spent Sunday dreading the start of the week because of dealing with both of them, but especially his behavior. At minimum, he'd pick up Cullen, make a big deal of partially undressing him, make at least one snide comment about my cat, or if I had any grandchild over besides the 18-month-old, or if I had cooked or whatever, which is weird not allowing the cooking.
I don't get that part.
I think if it's clear, if the child has an allergy or potentially could develop an allergy, that's one thing. If they have food allergies, that's one thing, but like just being like no cooking.
No, you can't cook in your house.
Maybe they just know like grandma sucks at cooking. That might be,
like,
that might also
my
be
child does not want your cooking.
Then he would say, I guess we don't have any choice but to put up with this for now. Or I guess you are happy that you won. This went on for 4 months. I spoke to my stepdaughter several times about it and told her that obviously they are very unhappy with how I cared for Cullen and that they should really work on finding something else and that in the meantime, he needed to be less vocal about it. It would get better for a day or two, and then he'd start again. It all came to a head as Thanksgiving was approaching. He was very verbal about the fact that he didn't want me to keep all my grandchildren over the break.
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
they called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch.
Cheese
really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you you with open arms, Sam.
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60 plus hours of members-only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam. And it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
I made it very clear that there would be a couple of days that I had all of them and that they needed to make other arrangements if they had a problem. They didn't make other arrangements. And when he picked Cullen up on the first day that I had all my grands over, he was very rude, and although nothing happened, everyone was happy, clean, and fed, and they had a great day. He said to Cullen that he was sorry that they had no choice except to leave him in an unsafe situation to be neglected.
Oh my God. And now they're bringing the kid into it.
Hey, knock, 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 knock. Hi. Get a different arrangement, dude. Hey, get something else if that's how you feel. So I called my stepdaughter that night, relayed to her what was said, and told her that she had 2 weeks to make other arrangements and that she needed to drop off and pick up Cullen during those 2 weeks. And if her boyfriend came to drop him off, I would refuse to keep him. And if he picked him up, I would not be keeping him again.
Put the camera on me. Put the camera on me. Zoom it. Okay. Someone on Reddit with actually healthy and communicative boundaries. Yes. I love to see it. It fills me with joy. Fills me with joy.
It's
OP,
joyous. It's a joyous occasion.
Inspiring after all these stories of unhealthy boundaries.
Boom.
Porous.
Boundaries set. So, things were better only dealing with her. At some point, she asked me if I would keep him until January because they found someone, but he couldn't start until then, and I agreed. She picked Cullen up and dropped him off, and everything was fine. New Year's Day, several people sent me a screenshot of a post her boyfriend made on social media about how thankful he was that they were finally able to leave Cullen without worrying about his safety or him being neglected. He didn't outright name me or accuse me of anything specific, but anyone who knows us knows I was keeping him, and the post implied plenty.
Wow.
I was just happy it was over.
Wow.
Like, okay, so trash. This guy's trash. That's
So
a trash thing to
he
do.
essentially,
Someone who's
like-
taking care of your kid. And if you really feel like that, then it's on you actually for keeping him in this situation. Hi, this is your fault. All of this is your fault then.
This person went out of their way to take care of your child because you couldn't figure that out. That's not on you, but you couldn't, and so you needed someone to take care of your child and be uncomfortable with your passive aggressiveness the whole time. And then after the fact of this person going out of their way to be kind and to take care of your child, you're gonna publicly out them essentially, or allude essentially.
Not even like low key
to
too,
them being
they weren't named outright. It was just like like I'm so glad.
Yeah,
and it's
more
like,
just more
you
passive
know,
aggressiveness. But
just,
now it's publicly online,
subliminal.
and then also wild accusations of if he actually used the word neglect.
Yeah, exactly. That's
not something you just play around with.
Right.
Those words.
So I was just happy that it was over. Friday, she called me and said that their new childcare provider had told her that Cullen wasn't a good fit and that she couldn't bring him back Monday. She asked if I would start keeping him again. I told her that I was sorry for their situation, but I really don't feel comfortable keeping him. My husband and stepson both think I should watch Cullen under the agreement that Amanda drop him off and pick him up because they think her boyfriend is the big problem and that I should just do it for Cullen's sake. My stepson also commented that I'd probably be more willing to let it go if it had been a conflict with my daughter's husband. My pension is about $4,000 a month plus continuation of my health insurance. That's about 40% of our take-home income, if that matters. Am I the a-hole for refusing to start watching Cullen again? I would say no.
Not at all.
Alex would also say no. We have some relevant comments. Let's get into them. Commenter 1, not the a-hole. No, you shouldn't put yourself through this, quote, for Cullen's sake. Cullen will get cared for regardless. There's no need for you to set yourself on fire because your stepdaughter and her boyfriend can't behave like normal human beings. Your husband and stepson are welcome to offer free childcare and put up with this treatment if it's important to them. But you've done your time. Learn from that experience and don't let yourself be put in the same situation again. Commenter 2, replying to this, for real, she is an ideal grandma and deserves a lot better than whatever this is. OP replies, I don't know about ideals, but my mom was my rock, and her helping with my kids helped so much financially. My kids had such an amazing relationship with her. I wanted to do that, for my children and grandchildren? Does OP's stepdaughter and the boyfriend earn enough to have a parent stay home with their child? OP says they make roughly the same salary, so doubt they could afford either to stay home, and I doubt that's what he wants. I don't meddle in their affairs, but they seem to spend a lot of money relative to their salaries. I really don't know what goes on in their house. She and I aren't close, so she wouldn't confide in me if there was a problem, but I don't think he's abusing her. Looks like your stepson should find a new babysitter then, given you're always showing so much favoritism to your biological children. OP says he is the oldest. I literally retired to watch his child for free. I could have just kept working and waited until my biological children had babies if that was how I felt. Yeah, that was a ridiculous comment. How is OP's relationship with her stepdaughter? OP says my stepdaughter has lots of very big emotions when her dad got serious with me. Her parents had been divorced for years, but were still angry at each other and didn't exactly co-parent well at the time. I was unfortunately the person she lashed out at the most. I worked in the clerk of court's office and took lots of free evening family court classes. They are such a great resource and so many people sat through them, court-ordered, but completely disengaged. I've had lots of practice and professional help setting behavioral expectations and boundaries with her.
It shows. You
Truly.
are a model for us all.
Professional.
Joyous to hear you setting healthy boundaries.
And Alex, we have an update.
Please.
Let's dive in. The mic just uppercutted my chin. Okay.
Damn, that's what happens when you dive in.
Sorry for everyone who heard that poof. Okay. Update first. First, let me just address the common suggestion that Amanda's boyfriend is purposefully sabotaging their childcare to trap her at home.
People make wild.
Yeah, look, we all get on our conspiracy theory train.
People,
right?
this
Every
is
once in a
people
while.
on Reddit.
They make roughly the same amount of money and can't afford to lose half of their income. So I seriously doubt he wants her to stay home. Second, I would never tell my stepson to find someone else to watch his child because of a simple difference of opinion. My grandson and I have a very close bond. He's the oldest, and it would break my heart and his if he didn't come spend his holidays and summers with me. Plus, he's a huge help with the littler ones when I have them all and things get hectic. I would never be so petty as to make him and all my other grandchildren suffer because of an adult disagreement. So I sort of asked around about why they were dropped by their new sitter so quickly. Apparently, they weren't.
No.
I see you in the chat.
my
I see
heart.
you in the chat.
My heart.
Amanda picked up Cullen and dropped him off both days he went, and everything was lovely. He did cry quite a bit, but they expected that to get better as he adjusted to not being held as much. My husband and stepson talked to Amanda, and she said that they realized that they can't afford daycare. They already made the, quote, easy changes, like packing a lunch and giving up fancy coffee, and his dad and her mom are both giving them about $100 a month towards childcare, and they can barely afford it. But they didn't realize that you have to send everything the baby needs. I buy diapers, wipes, formula, bottles, extra clothes. They just hand me the baby. They didn't realize that daycare didn't cover all of that. Also, imagine her boyfriend's surprise when he found out what the staffing rates are in this very expensive daycare. One adult cares for 5 infants. I guess he thought that someone would provide one-on-one care, diapers, wipes, and formula for $350 a week. My stepson relayed their almost apology. They felt overwhelmed by an infant and couldn't imagine that someone else could manage that plus other things. Cullen is going back to daycare tomorrow. Cullen's dad is selling his dirt bike, and Amanda is selling some designer clothes, handbags, and shoes to cover the costs. It'll get easier for them in 6 months when he transfers to the 1-year-old class, which is a little cheaper. And we have some relevant comments, but before we get into those,
Wow.
what a beautiful wake-up call for the boyfriend, and to a lesser extent, the daughter, the stepdaughter.
To know how good you had it with your grandma.
Yeah.
And how awful you were to her. And also, you lied to her because you wanted to cover your butt and be like, we're coming back, but it was not,
I think
it
that was
wasn't
more for their pride more,
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Or maybe
it just didn't work out. It wouldn't work out with their schedule.
or maybe in
Instead of
like
being
negotiating abilities of to not acknowledge that the grandma was the only option and be like, oh yeah, that didn't work out.
Well, I think it's probably like a whole mixture of stuff. It's the money and that, and then probably also the fact that they were so adamantly like, you can't be watching any other kids. And then they realized that every daycare, multiple kids are watched by one person. And they're like, so I'm going to have to pay, $500 for this? With plus, and I have to provide all of the baby materials.
You know who the real villain in here is?
Babies.
Capitalism.
Oh, I mean, yes, capitalism.
If you could just let people take their babies to work, problem solved.
If we could let the babies work.
Oh, now you're onto
and
something.
now we're solving two problems at once.
Make the babies work, and everyone else retires, and we just have baby workers.
So the babies are working, and then the retirees are just carrying the babies.
Oh, okay. So they're caring for the babies as the babies work.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and watching like YouTube brain rot.
Yeah.
To be clear, we do not support child labor
We do not.
on this podcast. Okay,
Explicitly.
okay.
That was a joke.
To make it clear, after the bit, post bit. All right,
Post bit fallout.
post bit clarity. We don't support child labor.
That was
Next,
hilarious.
relevant comments.
Wow.
Let's
The
go.
post bit clarity hit hard.
Commenter 1, good on you, OP. If your husband brings it up again, tell him he can pay for his grandson's childcare as you had been publicly accused of neglect and will not take on legal risk for caring for Cullen anymore, which is facts. OP, we agreed when they were cutting up that he wouldn't give them any money towards childcare. Commenter 2, so not only are they myopic and ungrateful and condescending, but they're also dishonest. Amanda lied to her stepmother when she told her that they had been asked to leave, that it wasn't a good fit, and their last day would be Monday at the daycare. Wow, I am so glad OP didn't back down and let them bring Cullen back. OP says, I will never babysit him again. I will not watch him in a house. I will not watch him with a mouse. I will not watch him in a box. I will not watch him with a fox.
Bars.
I will not watch him here or there. I will not watch him anywhere. And I do not like green eggs and ham.
I do not.
Commenter 3 asks for info. Is Amanda's boyfriend even the least bit contrite that his entitlement and unreasonable attitude has cost his family money they can clearly not afford? If not, has any of this lifted the haze from Amanda's eyes that this guy is a good partner to support her and their child through all of life's ups and downs? For
Some
heaven's sake,
good
they had
questions.
free childcare at their disposal and they doo-dooed all over OP. Talk about crapping the bed. OP says, I really can't say. My stepson and husband spoke to Amanda and possibly him and relayed the message. I haven't spoken to them directly since I found out Amanda lied about Cullen being kicked out of daycare. I honestly don't care if he's sorry or not at this point. Being sorry that you got caught and have a consequence is different than reflecting on your own actions and realizing that you were wrong and have real remorse. Bars. Let that sink in, everybody. When people say sorry just because they got caught, it cheapens the apology. Moving on. If he ever gets to that point, we can have a heart-to-heart. And where are the stepdaughter and her boyfriend's parents' involvement in Cullen's care? OP says her mom and dad both work full-time. His dad works full-time. No idea about his mom. OP can set up boundaries when it comes to caring for her grandchildren. OP says when you are providing free childcare, you can allow whatever boundaries you want.
Dang straight.
Exactly. It's
Dang
free
straight.
childcare.
Dang straight.
It's free childcare. I'm not texting anyone about a short trip to the store. If that's a condition they have, they're more than welcome to make other arrangements for their children that do not involve me.
Yup.
And that is the end of that story.
Cool.
Which
My tension was waning.
which is crazy because even though we're at the end of this story, I still have to tell you guys that you can listen to full episodes of stories like that
Where?
on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. All you got to do is search OK Storytime.
Really?
And there it is.
Like right now?
And there it is, folks.
Like right now?
You could go do it right now while you're watching this live stream. You could go on another device and stream a different episode of this podcast
I want you to double tap.
and listen to one in
If the-
each ear.
If the babies are putting in the work at their baby jobs, I want you to be able to put in your YouTube job.
At their
and listen to
perfectly
2
acceptable baby
episodes.
jobs, stacking blocks on top of each other,
Mhm.
playing with
playing,
Legos,
playing with toys.
yeah, that's why once the adults go above the age of 99, they're not allowed to play with Legos anymore.
Doesn't work
So
out.
they have to get the children involved to help them play with the Legos.
Exactly. It's a symbiotic relationship. My family demands my neglectful father's presence during my childbirth. I refuse.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Is the baby coming out of you? No. Okay, so shut your mouth. Thank you.
For context, I have never had a good relationship with my dad. He lived in the same house, but was not in any way a present parent. He never showed any interest in me or my siblings unless it pertained to one of his interests, particularly sports. By the way, this comes from U-willing position 169. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to ROK Storytime subreddit. So, my parents divorced when I was 19, and he completely lost it to the point where he was having us all stop. And the sheriff personally called my mom to say she needed to be ready to defend herself at all times. My siblings were minors at the time, and he told my mom that he didn't care what it took. He would make us all homeless.
So this guy can go to a black hole and get turned into spaghetti and eaten by pigs forever, please. My God.
Agreed.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Let's try to hammer through this top note here.
Okay, we're getting through it. I could write an entire post just on that situation alone, but for length purposes, just know it was horrible. Time to be his daughter. I went no contact for around a year with him and his parents due to the fallout. Obviously, we currently do speak, but the relationship is still strained. I'm currently 36 weeks pregnant and don't know what to do. I've been trying to gently tell him and my grandparents for months that we won't be taking visitors in the hospital on the first day, and if we are ready on the second day, we will inform them. Due to my health concerns, I will be going under general anesthesia for a C-section, so I won't even be the first person to meet my baby. Pregnancy has not been a great experience for me as it was quite a shock, so my stress level for the last almost 9 months has been extremely high. Last week, my grandma took it upon herself to call me about the situation. To sum up the conversation, she tried to guilt trip me multiple times into letting my dad come to the hospital when baby is born. When, in quotes, your dad just cares about you so much, didn't work. It shifted to, quotes, it's his first grandbaby. He deserves to be there. Another standout was he can't just see her through the nursery window and then leave. I was truly stunned because he never indicated at all that he's even the slightest bit interested in being an involved grandparent.
Yeah, so again, you're not birthing the baby. Shut up and make my life easier, please.
Also, it wasn't even personal. It was their choice to not have any visitors come. And then second, they have a strained relationship with their father who made verbal threats in their childhood.
Yeah, it's like, don't want that person around when I'm in the most vulnerable position of my life, probably.
And she's already very stressed with this pregnancy and her health concerns.
Just listen to the pregnant people. Listen to the people getting married in these situations. Listen to whoever the event or the moment it pertains to.
Agreed.
Please.
He does call me every couple of weeks to check in, which consists of him asking how I'm doing, then we talk about him for the remainder of the call. I did call him later that day to clarify what was said because I couldn't believe what was happening. He apparently didn't know she was going to call me, but he did eventually tell me that what she said was accurate to how he felt after some prying. However, he seemed most concerned with the possibility that I would have my mom's new husband there over him. He plainly said that he would not sit at home where he didn't know what was going on no matter what my final decision was. Okay, you don't have to be home.
Hey, Dad, here's what's going on. I'm having a freaking baby. All right? That's all you need to know. Moving on.
I must have still been in shock at the selfishness because I called him again today and he said the same thing again. I want to avoid the same level of falling out we had 4 years ago simply because the stress of having a first-time mother is already enough on its own. Him and his parents are not kind people and have spent years trying to manipulate or straight up bully me and my siblings into doing what they want whenever they want. I will say that the first time we fell out, I was in a horrible mental state and I did lash out in extreme ways. Until now, they've been somewhat scared to try it again, I guess. The only solutions I can come up with aren't great. I could either fast track the inevitable blow up this is going to cause and make it happen before the baby is born instead of after, tell them the wrong date for the scheduled C-section, lie and say we aren't taking any visitors at all until we get home, or a combination of the three. If I thought a heartfelt conversation about the past and why I don't want him there would be literally do anything, that would be my first choice. I want it to be very clear to anyone reading that these folks are the most selfish, spiteful, and straight up mean-spirited people I've ever met in my 24 years of life. So the sole reason I'm second guessing anything is because my boyfriend made the comment that he feels pity for my dad because he will be the only person not there. Support your partner. My response was that I can't help that the consequences of the way my dad has chosen to live the last 24 years are now coming back to bite in a big way. I feel pretty alone in this because I know I'm going to be spun by my dad and his parents to look like a horrible person to anyone and everyone that doesn't know what's going on in the past. Without context, it does seem incredibly harsh, so maybe I really am taking it too far. Advice or words of encouragement is very much welcomed and appreciated. We do have an edit. I think I said what I had to say. Strategic seems to be the best way about this. There are real concerns. There are also real safety concerns involved. I don't have the best answer. I think only you can make that answer of how you want to go about it, knowing your father, knowing, his parents, But yeah,
I think
hopefully
it comes down to a matter of timing. It's like just you're fully pregnant, you're about to have a kid. It's like now is not the perfect moment for you to be like, here are the hard line, do not cross boundaries, dad who is low, like has had abusive tendencies. Like now is not the time. But in the near future, like you need to be like, hey, you're not coming around for X, Y, and Z reason. And if you want to, you say, if you want to see, if I see X, Y, Z change or improvement, sure. And if you don't want to give him that, that's also fair. You're free to set whatever boundary you deem
But
necessary
in this
for this
scenario,
guy, because you have all the context.
in this scenario, like, do you have any thoughts on what she could strategically tell the dad in order to not
Well,
have the
he
worst
sounds like
fallout?
the guy where if you told him like, no, like don't come to the delivery room, like you could be like, I'm going to have like law enforcement to make sure that you can't. He would probably still show up, fight the police and get arrested. That he sounds like that guy. So I think doing the strategic, like trying to just make him at least of an issue, and your partner should be the one running point on this. Your partner should be the one running point on making your dad as little of an issue as possible. But moving forward, I mean, clearly this guy does not need to be around you or your children.
Yeah, I think a very practical thing is to talk to your partner. Say, I understand you're feeling empathy for my dad. I need you to be 100% on my side in this moment. Can you do that? And then after that, hopefully the partner is like, yes, you're right. After that, maybe have a partner conversation around, okay, like let's strategize. Like what is the best thing to do here? But I think that is really important to not be alone in this and not have to like, when you're already in so much stress,
you and partner need to
just
be on
not
the
be
same
alone.
page. Yeah.
Edit. A few clarifications as I read comments. Boyfriend is absolutely not abusive, nor is he advocating for my dad to be there at all. I was in an actual abusive relationship prior to him with that, which caused me to develop PTSD. This is absolutely not anything like that. He completely supports whatever decision I make. As a few people have guessed, he has a great relationship with his parents and does have a hard time wrapping his head around having a bad relationship with a parent. His sentiment was, it's sad that your dad has done this to himself. I can't imagine having a father like that, nor being that type of father. I was already upset at the situation, and I started overthinking / second-guessing myself at his very passive sympathy towards my dad. What I meant by my dad being there was in the waiting room or in the hospital at all for that matter at this point. Nobody will be seeing me give birth except for the doctors, as I will be intubated. Baby will go immediately to boyfriend for skin to skin until I'm oriented enough to truly meet her.
John, we're going to get back to the story, but I got to tell you, I've been loving these pearls that I got in Colombia.
You are a delicious beaded man nowadays.
I do feel more confident at the very least, but I think these pearls pale in the amount of confidence an OK Storytime membership can get you.
That's right. You get 60 plus hours a month of exclusive live stream content. That's advice that'll make you the best version of yourself.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOPshow/join.
Crack open that oyster and get the blues. But let's get back to the story.
Both of our moms are in the healthcare field, and I have insane birth anxiety anyway, so they will serve as advocates and support people. We have given the okay to our siblings and boyfriend's dad to be in the waiting room, and they understand the possibility of us seeing all day one is very slim. At most, they may get to pop their heads in for a couple minutes, but that is not guaranteed. This has been explained to dad's family multiple times over the course of several months. Either they don't understand or they simply just don't care. Nobody else has made a fuss or expects to be there at all. I want you to be here and listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Maybe you should go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Story Time. There's another relevant update, but let's discuss how you could be here on day one of the birth of our stories on Spotify.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think she's got the support system that she needs from the partner.
And
you know,
her mom
I think,
and the partner's mom, it seems like.
Yeah, it's just moving forward, I think, because now is not the time to, I think, even though I'm just trying to think of what, because dad seems like he could fly off the handle and go nuts.
Agreed.
Right? So it's like the way to sort of manipulate him into being as little of an issue as possible, you know, and then once you're in a less vulnerable position, put those boundaries down and stand firm on those.
I don't know if she ever said she wanted to do no contact boundaries, so.
But I think you should.
Okay.
I think if you're already at a point where you're like, I don't want this guy around in the hospital when I have my kid because I don't know what he's gonna do or I don't know how he's gonna act. Like, I just don't want him around because it makes me anxious. It's like you don't have to be compelled, because I feel like OP is the kind of, it might be getting compelled to have this relationship in her life again.
There's not enough context, and I would just say that parent-child relationships are so complex. I'm not going to assume that there is a right decision here.
Well, I'll say if you do want to put boundaries up, just now's not the time. Now is the time to, like, you kind of have to scheme and manipulate, and then you know, for the sake of your own life, like, because you don't want him pulling a stunt at the hospital.
For everyone asking why my dad's family knows anything about me being pregnant at all, or why they're involved in any capacity, we live in the middle of absolute nowhere. Them just never finding out about it was never in the realm of possibility. My intention with involving them, if you could really call it that, was to be able to keep the situation somewhat under control. Unfortunately, it clearly didn't really matter in the end anyways, because here we are. No contact is very much on the table.
Let's go.
So you might get your boundaries, Dakota. Thank you to everyone who gave me solid and kind-hearted advice. I'm feeling very validated, yay, in my feelings, and I feel empowered to make the best decision for my new little family member, no matter who gets upset about it. Wow, maybe the internet can be supportive. Sweet.
They can. It's just, you know, you're gonna get a lot of people who aren't, but you'll find some people who are.
Some support.
Yeah.
All right.
People just love to yell and be mad on the internet. It's the truth.
It is true. Unfortunately. Comments, relevant comments. Comment number 1. Tell your medical team who you want there. They'll enforce your boundaries. Best of luck. Reply to that comment. If you have a picture of him OP, you could show it to security at the hospital and he'll never make it past the front door. Be sure to warn them that he could be dangerous. Also, let the nurses know. I'm a nurse and I've personally removed people who are unwanted by my patients. Last, do not tell him or anyone in contact with him the date, time, or place of delivery. Why are you even in contact with him or his family in the first place? Are you hoping he'll magically become a good person?
So most of that, really quick before you do the reply, I'm just going to preface that with a lot of the reasons for that is the small town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, in the context of a bigger place, sure, that makes sense. But in a small town where everybody knows everybody, everyone knows what's going on. It's like, in my head, it's like, so you don't let him there, and then he gets in like a huge fight with the security or the police get involved, and then he's still there in that small town. He knows where you live. He knows where you are. It's like, you don't want this to end up becoming a bigger event down the road because now he feels like he's been slighted and he needs justice or something. So just placate him like he's a little baby, you know, and you go, okay, here's your binky, like here's your little baby binky, little baby man. And then, you know, quietly build up the support and the foundation you need to place those boundaries there. In a
long story short, get the binky. There you go. Reply. Exactly how the F would they know the hospital and the date unless your big mouths have told?
Again, these people don't know about small towns. They don't know about small towns.
But even regardless, why you gotta attack people? Just tell the hospital and all the midwives and admission. I'm not even gonna read this comment. No, because you're a bad boy, you don't get.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? It's like a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people who live in like New York, LA. They call the entire country flyover country. So it's like it completely like there's a lot of people out there. There are millions and millions of people who have no concept of what a small town, a small community is like to live in, and it can be borderline impossible to have a private life in a community like that. It really is. It depends. But
it also feels irrelevant. Like, they know at this point, so who gives a crap? It's not relevant.
I refuse to help my aunt financially because she sided with my horrible ex-husband.
You gotta side with OP if you want the bling bling.
It's true. If you're either with me or against me. Okay? I am a 40 female single mother raising my 2 children. My ex-husband cheated on me and was very abusive.
Oh, dude, there it is.
He left me for a young woman when I was 26. I, by myself, worked hard and came up to the position where I am now. By the way, this comes from user personal platform 2585. And if you want to submit your stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I'm currently earning 6 figures and doing well. So, the background story is my family didn't support me during my divorce, though they were well off, and I had to move states to find employment and affordable housing. Most of my relatives blamed me for ruining the family's reputation, specifically my mother's side, the aunt I'm referring to. She spread rumors about me and insulted me on many occasions and kept talking to my ex and feeding him all my information, which is insane of the aunt to do. That's crazy.
Why is she upset? Is she upset because OP divorced someone who cheated on them?
I had to go through court battles for custody for my children by myself while this aunt supported my ex, spreading rumors and helping him gain custody for 2 years. Finally, I managed to get custody of my children, and we are happy. Recently, my aunt has been calling me and requesting financial support and asking me to help her children get jobs. So I told her to go and ask from my ex who she supported. I don't know if I am the a-hole here, but my mother thinks it was unnecessary and I should have supported it. So Reddit, tell me, am I the a-hole? Oh my God. I am so sorry you could ever think you're the a-hole in this situation.
You don't owe money to anyone, even family.
Facts.
And someone who went behind your back, who was trying to go against you in legal court battles with your ex, and who was spreading rumors about you, has the audacity to ask for money.
Literally, a key piece of why you didn't have custody of your children for 2 years just came around and was like, money, please, money, me,
and you're like,
money, me need now.
Get out of my face.
Who are you?
Get out of my face.
You're my enemy. Whoa, I didn't expect so many supportive responses. Thank you guys. After reading your responses, I realized I wasn't wrong to refuse to help, and I'm going to stay firm in my decision. When I posted here, I was having doubts. In my culture, we are expected to respect the elders, even if they are total a-holes. And because my mother was trying to guilt trip me, my mom always guilt trips me to get her way. And right now, I don't want that toxicity in my life. So thanks to you guys, I'm decided I'm going to cut contact with my aunt and her family, and I'm going low contact with my parents for a while. I'm meeting my mother for lunch tomorrow and letting her know my decision, and we will gradually start to address the issue in our relationship and try to mend it. There is probably going to be water work, name calling, and telling me how much of an ungrateful child I am, but I'm going to stay firm in my decision.
Shout out OP.
Yes.
I love someone.
Stay firm. I will update you guys if anything interesting happens. You guys are amazing, and something interesting definitely happened because we've got an update.
We got an update, baby.
So we are going to go do a Scrooge McDuck dive head first into the treasure trove that is OP's update. Hey guys, I have an update and it's a long one and hopefully the final one. So I called my mom and asked her to meet me for coffee the other day to discuss something important. I didn't tell her the reason deliberately because I was afraid she'd bring my aunt and try to gaslight me, and I didn't want to deal with that. So we met at a cafe close to my workplace. And after small talk, I told her I need to discuss how I feel about my aunt's behavior towards me and the entire situation. First, I told her it was hurtful that my own mother dismissed the hurt and damage my aunt caused me back then. And she speaks as if it wasn't a big deal. Mom didn't take it well and said my aunt is a brutally honest person and she intentionally would not cause me harm. And I should have been more understanding of the situation because family comes first. Oh, if family comes first, you should tell the aunt that, who was taking the side of OP's abusive ex. Sorry, was he already family?
I hate that sentiment. It's like your needs and pain don't matter because family matters more.
Yeah, it's
it makes me upset.
It's the logic there doesn't hold up at all.
It makes me really upset.
I couldn't believe what she said. I told her she spread rumors about me, supported my ex during the custody battle, and now she wants my help?
Yes.
How is that helping? And where the family comes first, and where was the family comes first rule when I was struggling alone financially and emotionally while working, trying to complete a degree, and fighting a custody battle? She said, quote, "You're always so dramatic. Can't you just let it go?"
Oh, so
which is
dismissive.
Again, yeah.
So dismissive.
I told her, this isn't about being dramatic. This is about protecting myself and my children from toxicity. I showed her all the hurtful text messages my aunt and my cousins had sent me during my divorce, calling me a stupid a stupid gardening tool for leaving a rich husband and destroying the family's reputation, blaming me. It's my fault that my ex abused me as a woman. I should have known how to keep a man.
Pull up the receipts.
Sorry, I was just my flabbers are gasted by that.
Yeah.
So
100%. Show your mom. I mean, and she is, but
She
that's
is,
great.
right now.
It's like, look at this. This is wild. If family comes first, this is not what that is.
OP says she was surprised when she saw the text because my aunt had told her an entire different story. She has convinced my mother that she's trying to get my ex and me to sort things out before going into a divorce because of the kids. And she had just advised me, but I blew up on her and my cousins, so she talked to my ex to convince him to go to family therapy, and all she did was in good faith. So
No.
she's
lying.
horrible liar.
She's lying to her sister.
So I told her she betrayed me and you supported her. Do you have any idea how much that hurt? It is hurting that you believe her sister without even asking my side of the story and decide I'm in the wrong and unreasonable. And I don't understand why you refuse to see what kind of a leech and horrible person the aunt is. My mom started crying and told me she's always looking out for her sister because when they lost their father, my aunt was just 6 years old and my mom was 15. Because grandma was working long hours, my mother was the one who was taking care of her, so she basically raised my aunt and became a second mother to her. So she got parentified. And grandma passed away when my aunt was 20, so she is the only family she has left.
Okay. That is useful context.
Complicated. It's always more complicated than the surface will tell you. So I asked her, why isn't she and dad helping her with money? Apparently, she owes my mom and dad a lot of money already, and dad has refused to help and told her to return the money she owes them back, and has told mom if she gives money to my aunt again, she can go and live with my aunt because he's done being a cash cow for her sister.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X's. Well, let's get back to the story.
So she thought I would help my aunt to pay back the money she owes to dad, and later on she could convince dad to help her again. Which, by the way, it sounds like you're facilitating or enabling a negative behavior in your sister.
She is, because she's parentified and like has these extra protective triggers around her sister.
Yeah. So she said she knows my aunt's way of dealing with situations is different, and she's sorry my aunt was a bit harsh to me, but she didn't mean any harm. That's how she is. Now she's stressed of raising her kids alone because her deadbeat husband has left her to fend for herself, and we should be more understanding of her situation because as a single mother, I know how hard it is. I was trying hard not to break down in front of her. I said, no, she hurt me deeply, and I can't just forgive and forget. You weren't there when I needed you most. You are defending the aunt who made me feel like I was the one in the wrong at my lowest and was fighting for my children alone. Thank you for standing on business.
Yes.
Thank you.
Pop off. Exactly what needed to be said.
Yes. I told her that I love her, but I need to do this for my own sanity. I need some space to heal, and I can't keep doing this. I'm done with the manipulation, the emotional blackmailing, and gaslighting, and now I need to protect myself and my children.
I'm so proud of the boundary setting in all these stories. This is amazing stuff.
This is a very good way to go about this. I need to cut out the toxicity, so I'm going no contact with her. And I'm telling dad about the conversation we had today. Also, I will be canceling the credit card I have given her to help with bills and groceries because I'm sure she's using that to spend on my aunt. But I will keep paying for the health insurance because I don't want them not to be able to get medical treatment. And that's it.
Wow. So not only is
Measured response.
not only is the mom like, hey, you need to give money to the aunt, but OP is already like financially supporting the mom right now. And she
Which
and then
I
which
think
adds
culturally
to the weight.
is kind of expected wherever they are. I'm not sure where, but there was a comment at the beginning of this story. The OP said like culturally it is expected to kind of jump. You say when, for the elders
Good
in your
context.
family.
Yeah.
So she pleaded with me to not tell dad, and she'll return the credit card back to me because things are already not so great between her and dad because of this. I told her I'll think about it, and please don't try to contact me until I decide to talk to her. If she needs the situation to change, maybe in 1 or 2 years, if I feel so, we can try family therapy and try to have a relationship. But right now I need space from all of them. She was just crying and saying I've misunderstood the whole thing. Look at that. She's still refusing to acknowledge you. She's just trying to say that you're understanding wrong. It's like,
The
no,
issue is-
you're just not hearing me when I say my aunt straight up was basically abusive to me. Like in my lowest point, she sided with the devil essentially, and I was chopped liver. So
OP is saying, I'm in pain. I was hurt. I was betrayed by this person, and the mom goes, you just don't get. You're misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was a
It's
miscommunication.
so whack for her to say that, and that's, again, go ahead and go no contact for a couple years. I just got up after she said that and walked away and paid the bill, and I was on my way out.
Sure.
I knew no matter what I achieved, how much I helped them, or how forgiving I am towards them, I was just a disappointment to them, and I held the place of the emergency ATM in her life. After reaching home, I couldn't hold on, and I just broke down, realizing my parents don't care about me and think so little of me is a hard pill to swallow, and that is rough. We all have a breaking point, but you know what? I don't even know if that's the case. I think maybe your parents just don't have the tools in the tool belt to care for you in the way that you need.
I agree.
I'm sure they care about you.
I think it has more to do with the mom's relationship with her sister.
Right.
And her being placed in a role where she needs to protect her and defend her and can't come out of that mentality to see the pain that her own daughter is having. I don't think it's a lack of care. I think it's just her brain is like stuck in this configuration and can't get out. And it is very hurtful and awful at the same time, and you have every right to not want to be in a relationship like that.
So if that is how they feel about me, I'm going to prioritize my family, me, my son, and my daughter, and move on. And by the way, if you're feeling like you want to move on from here, you can move over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, where you can listen to full episodes of stories like this. Just go to whatever podcast platform you prefer and search OK Storytime.
And
there you will find us.
They'll have less triggers.
I feel like we could kind of get away with no triggers on this because it was just at the very top.
Yeah,
it didn't really go in any detail about it. It was just the context.
It's more,
but as we got out of it, I think, on that last story. But my God, we do have a little bit of story left. I think we've spoken our piece about this. I think we know exactly where we stand here.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and finish it off.
Hit it.
So, and I'm not going to tell my dad about my mom and aunt's plan for the money. He never once supported me or defended me, so he can deal with it. And honestly, I don't care. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I will miss them for sure, especially on holidays, but they are just toxic, and my dignity is more important to me. So for Christmas, me and the kids are going on vacation to some tropical country and enjoying the holidays.
You deserve it.
It sounds like a W for OP. Simplify. Yes. Thank you guys for convincing me I wasn't wrong in my decision and helping me realize how toxic my parents were. And that is the end of that story.
Good job for
Beautiful.
setting boundaries.
Mwah.
Good job for treating yourself. In the wise words of Parks and Rec, treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
My sister's wedding is stressful, and I resent them for it. When in doubt, just scream! My sister Anne is 29 years old. We are 3 years apart. I'm 26. She got engaged in the fall of 2022 to a very sweet man, 32 years old. A good man.
A good man.
Lots of patience. A good man. He's a solid man. A good chap, they might say. And we'll call him George. By the way, By the way, this comes from Adwin Indigo. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, family dynamic and circumstances. We're getting some backstory.
Ooh.
Anne came back to live with our parents last fall after college. We live in Tennessee. We are a family of 8, so it can be a bit crowded.
It's a big family.
Well, that is actually a big family. I had also recently graduated and moved back with my junk. Lol. I felt this was my cue to move out and help my family have some space. I got all my stuff and moved to my own apartment about 20 to 30 minutes away from my parents. Her fiancé, Gorge, went back to New Jersey to find a place for them to live after they're married. They're staying pure up till their wedding night. Alrighty. They're going to bust so quick then. Woo, yeah, it's going to be so good. At this point, it's January 2023, and they haven't picked a date yet. They're super triceratopsy for each other, so they have to get married ASAP because they can't. They're trying to jump each other's bones right now. While Gorge is in New Jersey, Anne misses him something awful.
Well, Gorge is in New Jersey and misses him something awful.
It's been a
Who's
fortnight
writing this?
since I've seen you last, my dear
They want
Gorge.
to jump each other's bones.
Anyway, She can't even think straight.
Oh, boy.
She gets an interview for a job in New Jersey and gets accepted for it, so she does wind up moving over there.
Jersey?
They're still living
It's
separately.
raining.
What?
It's raining.
Oh, that's cool. Wedding stuff. It rolls around to February, and they keep changing their minds about the date. Finally, they pick the last weekend in May.
The last weekend in May,
Since Anne...
it's only going to rain.
Since Anne has moved to New Jersey, that leaves our mother to do all the wedding planning and organizing. Our mother isn't being super controlling about it. Anne has a little bit of a learning disability on top of having difficulty reading. She easily gets overwhelmed by stuff. There's no way Anne can plan a wedding by herself. Little old Anne that just
Little old
gets...
Anne.
She gets swept away by any gorge that walks
boy.
her way. I'm just a little lady.
She's hysterical.
Take her to the doctor. I heard they have new
Anna,
treatment for stuff like that.
Keep her locked in a room until the yellow wallpaper starts moving.
And Mom is happy to help. Because Anne and Gorge picked out a date it's so late and it's a holiday weekend, there are no venues open.
You idiots.
They decided to have the service and reception at our old home church.
That's not so bad.
Mom did all the footwork to check all the venues and find out they were booked.
No.
Anne helped with none of this except to give approval. Well, Anne is historically hysterical, so
It's
I don't
called
know.
delegation.
It's called delegation. Maybe she's
Okay.
a businesswoman
businesswoman.
a budding
She doesn't have
businesswoman.
time to do the minutia.
No, she
She's
only
just
has
looking at the big
time to
picture.
write to Gorge or smutty letters. In the months leading up to the wedding, our mother spent most of her time searching for and buying decorations. The church does not have wedding decorations. Anything that goes into planning a wedding, our mother did. Mom designed and printed the invitations. Oh, tailored the wedding dress. Ha! And is making sleeves.
Please.
Sleeves on a wedding dress.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my goodness. It's going to take
oh,
forever
golly
at the
gee.
sewing machine. She's going to have to press
However
that
will
pedal.
she do it?
Oh my God, she must be.
She's only got till May. I don't know what month it is, but that's awfully soon.
awfully
and it's
soon, and
probably
she
gonna
has to
rain.
make dinner every single night.
Oh,
I don't know how
Lord.
she's going to do it. Both parents are making all the food for the reception, and I'll be helping her make icing flowers and making the groom's cake. It sounds
How
like
does
it's
the
going to be
groom's
liver.
get his own cake?
I'll be helping her make icing flowers and making the groom's cake. I also spray painted some of the wedding decorations in the church. Like,
Okay.
That's,
Let's see what this looks like.
that's a little. I can't imagine that looks good.
The fumes, the vapors.
The vapors. Oh Lord!
I do declare.
I do declare, you're gonna make me hysterical and pass
I
out
do
from
say.
all these vapors like a hot Georgia day, sitting
You know,
in my
it's pretty
rocking
easy to pass
chair
out in church,
on the
actually.
plantation.
It's pretty easy to pass out in church.
Yeah,
It
you
is.
should.
There's
know.
not a lot of circulation in the church.
And you're also wearing really nice clothes and tight
Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with sleeves.
And you're
God.
singing a lot, and you're standing a lot, and you're doing up and down and
You're
up and
saying
down and up and
hallelujah.
down. Easy to pass out in church.
I also spray painted some of the wedding decorations and took care of other stuff. I also volunteered to do Anne's hair and makeup for her. One of our brothers is doing the photography for free. And no, none of us do these things professionally except our brother, who is a professional photographer.
Nice.
The day she flew down, our whole family was at church sweeping, mopping, cleaning out the fridges, taking care of the draping on the walls, putting out tables, etc. This is a family affair.
Yeah.
This is kind of uniting the whole family.
I don't know if I would want like a close, like an immediate family member to do like photography or something like that, because I would want them to enjoy the day.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like that's a pretty big.
Or
kind of-
you make sure they're always watching the important moments.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, she was supposed to help with some of that, but I don't think she's been planning to. Now that Anne's here, she's been staying at my apartment because her little sister is sick, and we don't want to risk the bride catching something before her big day. Couldn't possibly.
Oh.
I don't really mind because this is a big deal. It gives us a chance to catch up too, but then she keeps asking me to do a bunch of little things for her. Like she'll lay down and then want me to get a glass of water, a snack, etc. I make her coffee and breakfast. She
What was that?
leaves
What more time?
lights on, takes 2 to 3 long showers a day. Okay, so she's like
2 to 3 long showers a day. What's she
that's not long.
doing?
She's
Oh, she's cleaning.
She's cleaning. She's releasing some stress.
That's 2 to 3 long showers a day.
Hey, when you gotta release stress and get
she
clean,
hasn't been able to jump the bones
That's
of
what
that
I'm
husband.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
That's what
Well,
we're
I was
saying.
saying
We're
it
all
first.
saying the same thing. We're hive-minding it. She pays no mind to the little rules I have. Example, drying her hands on my face towel, ruining my bar of soap, or walking around the apartment totally in the way God has presented her at birth. When I have a window open, but getting mad at me even though I told her that I open a window.
What?
John, we're going to get back to the story,
Yeah.
but you're old.
You're as old as me now, pal.
I might be as old as you, but I feel like you have oodles more wisdom.
I've got some wisdom in this old noggin.
You got a
baby.
piece of wisdom for me right now?
Always respect you.
And I think the other piece of wisdom that I've learned from John is join OK Storytime memberships.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Get it now while I'm still alive.
Now back to the story. Today, Anne's freaking out. She's turned into that bridezilla into her final form and saying she's too nervous to wear makeup. And she doesn't want to wear any makeup at all except for some lipstick.
I get that.
That's
I
her
get
own
that.
prerogative. I calmly tell her that it's fine, but let's try out just for fun one night. If you don't like it, it's no skin off my nose. If you do, great. But she hasn't texted me back, and I think she's offended and low-key melting down. Look, if she doesn't want makeup, then it's one less thing for me to worry about. Months ago, I asked her if she wanted makeup, and she said a little bit would be good, but she didn't know how to apply it, and that's when I volunteered because I'd love for her to look her Sunday best and feel beautiful in photos. I already bought her foundation and things. I just wish I hadn't already spent the money if she truly didn't want it. Yeah, 'cause, makeup
expensive.
entry ain't free. How much is a makeup?
I don't know. I don't buy a lot of makeup.
Well, just you
But,
have a makeup.
I feel like on the cheaper end, you can get like nice eyeshadow for like $30.
That's expensive.
It's like on the cheaper end.
And how long does that last?
For like, and that's like that big.
Oh, is that big? Or is that small?
No,
That's
it's
small.
a smaller one.
See, it's expensive.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
like
have to
the
tell
ones
you.
that are that big
you
are
don't.
really expensive.
I just wish I hadn't spent all the money if she truly didn't want it. Optional backup story about the makeup. Anne's a very anti-makeup kind of gal. Occasionally, she wears lipstick. In the past, she's even seen me wearing makeup, even though it's a natural look, and she harps on me. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
She doesn't like it, so I shouldn't wear it either.
That's
it's
silly.
bad for my skin and whatnot. I just don't think there's any harm in covering up dark circles and wearing it occasionally.
There ain't any harm, and she should mind her own business.
Months ago, I asked what she was planning for the bridesmaids, and she only mentioned dresses and flower hair clips. Cool, jewelry looks pretty, but it's not for me. Well, we're both adults now, so I thought we'd grown past all the pettiness. No, you were wrong. Plus, it was a long time ago. I mean, who cares? I just let it go, and I didn't even remember till today. But this morning, she stuck her tongue out at me and said she was making me jewelry, and I had to wear it.
Okay.
Weird. In the moment, I didn't say anything and just finished making her tea. I guess it's not that big of a deal. Wear some bling for a few hours, and I can take it off, no biggie. It just rubs me the wrong way that she's rubbing this in my face so hard. There are just more important things to worry about. She's making this jewelry right now. Like, of all the things to ensure that
She's
this
like,
wedding goes smoothly,
I need the jewelry.
the jewelry needs to be perfect.
Oh, he's like, are you sure we shouldn't focus on like maybe like the date and making sure that you have all of the decorations? She's like, no.
And she starts making that friendship bracelet jewelry that's everyone. There's a lot more important things to worry about than frickin' jewelry right now, and she still doesn't have her own shoes or any flowers sorted out. Why bring up stuff from our childhood? I may have missed an important part. I'm going to hit this backstory really quick.
It was optional.
It was optional, but it turns out it wasn't optional. So I'm going to go back to the backstory. Ever since we were little kids, she always was trying to force me to wear jewelry that I had, to have my ears pierced one day. And as a little kid, the texture of the jewelry just felt weird to me and I didn't like it. And also used to tell me if she couldn't make me wear stuff, then she'd force me to wear it at her future wedding.
Oh, and here
that
we
I
have.
could never be a true woman if I wore any. I just shrugged it off and said I wouldn't be her bridesmaid or whatever. She used to paint me as the to our mother whenever I wouldn't wear jewelry. Okay, so this jewelry
Oh
beef
my
goes.
goodness. So she's really
deep.
into her jewelry.
She's really
She
into
just
her
sounds really
jewelry.
controlling. She's like, you can't wear makeup because I don't wear makeup. You have to wear jewelry because I wear jewelry.
I want to be matching at our wedding. I wear white. You wear white.
and then Opie shows up in white and she's like,
Yeah.
why would you wear white to my wedding?
Anne is getting frustrated with me about some other things, and I don't know if it's simply because I'm not communicating things clearly enough or if I'm just creating problems and needlessly stressing her out with the information she can't handle. Example, making conversations about anything not wedding related. On a slightly different note, my mother is understandably very overwhelmed with everything. She keeps asking me to clean up the house, which is completely cluttered with wedding stuff. I need to clean up everyone's dishes, sweep and mop the house, sort through Anne's wedding stuff. What is Anne even doing? But you know what you should always sort through is our podcast, OK Storytime, which you can search up wherever you get your podcasts. And you can listen to us 24/7 into your ear holes.
24/7, 365.
I'll absolutely do what I can to make things easier for mom, but I also have to do those things at my own apartment. I'm moved out and have my own life now. I have my own responsibilities to take care of. Mom is doing all this major wedding planning because Anne hasn't done a thing. Anne hasn't lifted a freaking finger. At what point does OP just, take a step back and say,
no more.
No
Enough
more.
is
This
enough.
is on you. Enough is enough. I am done.
Yeah, honestly.
You've crossed my boundaries.
That's a good question.
I mean, I feel like it's getting to the point where I'm like, hey,
It's getting there.
It's like
it's certainly getting there.
you are being way too demanding. You need to take a step back.
Take
You need to take two steps back. Although a parent's child is never too old to do the dishes at their parents. Like, I get that. But now I even have a guest at my place and I majorly need to sweep and mop my own apartment, but I'm too busy at my parents to catch up in time. Update. I am now going to be hosting a little get together with the other two bridesmaids because my parents' place is a mess. So I absolutely must get my place cleaned up. I have no idea what we'll do. Maybe I can bring some board games over and we can watch TV. Who knows? But yeah, basically OP is getting spread thin.
Yeah.
Spread to the max.
Mm-hmm.
Question
Spread
for...
thinner than a crepe.
Spread thinner than a crepe. Amen. But that's the end of that story.
Woo.
My mother told me my biological father had passed, but he just showed up.
That's pretty awkward.
My dad fell into eternal sleep when I was 8 years old. Well, the man I thought was my dad did. I know this is about to be an insane story. My mom dated other men, but she's never remarried and had a serious live-in boyfriend since I've basically been without a dad since I was 8 years old. We also love Throwaway RA Dad Arrived for writing this story. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime and send them in, baby. But earlier today, this man came into my work. I work at a movie theater in the concession stand, by the way. So this man came in and kept letting people go ahead of him in line until I was done helping the customer I was with. He was like the last guy left. I didn't think anything at first, but this guy was kind of nervous, but trying to talk to me. He asked what I recommended to eat and asked what kind of movies I liked. He seemed friendly, but shy. I was just being polite and making conversation like we're supposed to do with customers. Anyways, he paid and left, and I didn't see him when his movie finished because it was busy. Or maybe he didn't even watch a movie. I don't know. Anyways, I got off work a little bit ago, and when I got home, that same man was in my living room talking to my mom, and it kind of creeped me out. And my mom started panicking when I asked who he was. And she just kept saying that he's no one, he's leaving. But the man said he wasn't leaving until we talked and said she needs to tell me the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Well, you can guess from the title, he said he's my dad.
Hi, I'm your dad.
I just felt this twist in my stomach, like Keon's feeling right now. My mom started rambling, saying that my dad, the one that fell into eternal sleep, was my real dad and how much he loved me and took care of me, and that this doesn't change that at all. The thing is, something happened last year that made me question about my mom, my dad, and my medical history. She said she didn't know anything about it, but today I just yelled at her that she could have told me then and there that he wasn't my biological father, but she didn't. I asked if this man was telling the truth, and she started crying and nodding. I guess I didn't notice at the theater because it was never something I would even think of, but looking at him, it's pretty clear we're related because he looks so much like me. Or I guess I look like him is more accurate. He tried to talk to me and swore he never knew I existed or he would have been in my life. My mom didn't deny this. I asked her if this man was dangerous or an abusive ex or anything like that. He was offended, and she assured me that it wasn't that at all. She wanted to sit down and talk, but I just felt so nauseous and overwhelmed, so I just grabbed my keys and told my mom that I'm staying at my best friend Josh's house for the night. I came there, and Josh was sympathetic and let me vent, but he fell asleep, and now I'm just here awake, and my brain won't shut off. I feel so betrayed by my mom. How could she not tell me the truth? When I was little, I understand that, but I'm old enough now to know where I come from. It feels so unfair that she denied me a father for half my life. I loved my dad that passed away, and I still miss him, but I've wanted a father for so long. There's so much I've gone through where I feel like having a dad would have been so much better and easier. I love my mom, and she's been incredible in raising me, but it's not the same as having a dad, especially when this guy is my actual dad, and it seems like he would have been there if he knew. I don't know what to say to him or to my mom.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration, and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month. So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story. I know I have to go home eventually, but I just don't know what I'm supposed to say or do. He probably hates me and thinks I'm a crybaby because I cried and stormed out. Oh, no.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
We do have the answers in this next update, okay? I know I didn't reply to any comments after the first few hours that my original post was up. I woke up the next morning and saw a bunch of new comments. Though I didn't reply, I read all of them, good and bad. I appreciate all the advice given and kind words spoken. Like many people suggested, the only thing I could really do was talk to both of them to figure out what the real story was. So I went home and talked to my mom. I was much calmer and had a much clearer head and was ready to hear what she had to say. I probably learned more than anyone ever should have about their own conception.
That's awesome.
It turns out that my father really isn't an abusive ex or anything like that. My mom didn't cheat on my adoptive dad or anything shady like that. I am just the product of a one-night stand.
Let's go.
My mom said that she went out drinking by herself at a bar and met my dad, who was celebrating his 25th birthday alone. Kind of sad. She said...
Your dad's a loser.
Oh, no. Your dad's a loser. She said that she had been dumped by her fiancé, not my adoptive dad, different man, a week before that, and because she had learned from her doctor that it was virtually impossible for her to have children naturally, she said her and my bio dad used protection and yet somehow still got pregnant with me, and that I'm her miracle baby, considering the circumstances. So she went back to the hotel that he took her to after she found out that she was pregnant, but they couldn't find any info on the dad ever staying there. He didn't give her his actual first name, explained later in the post. So fake name. She said this was before social media was a thing, so she couldn't just search him online like we do nowadays. So she decided she would just raise me on her own. She also admitted she panicked when my bio dad showed up because to her, he was literally just a guy she knew from one night 17 years ago. She didn't know who he was now, or if he was going to try to get custody of me, or if I was going to try to run away with him or something like that. She admits she could have been calmer from the beginning, and maybe we could have all talked about it or sorted it out that night, but I don't blame her for it. As for my adoptive dad, the man that raised me, she said she didn't meet him until I was almost 2. They got married when I was 3, and he officially adopted me after they got married. She showed me the adoption certificate. Reflecting on it now, I realized I've never seen pictures of he and I when I was a baby, just pictures of me as a toddler and up. She said that he accepted me as his own and loved me and being a father to me. I told her my bio dad showing up doesn't rewrite history. I'll never not see my adoptive dad as my father. If anything, it makes me love him even more that he treated me and loved me as his own flesh and blood. Right in the feels.
Wow.
I also ended up talking to my bio dad. He left his number, which my mom gave to me, and he met me up for lunch. He confirmed my mom's whole history.
Oh.
Wow. I gave him crap about using a fake name. It wasn't so cut and dry, though. He said he goes by his middle name, which is what he told her that night.
Got it.
He showed me his business card, which does have that name that he told me my mom said that night. And I've since looked him up using the name that he gave my mom, which nowadays he's very easy to find with. And his entire online presence uses his middle name. He has comments on his Facebook from friends and family calling him by that name going back years. Okay, that's good receipts. Apparently, he only goes by his actual first name for legal and business reasons, like checking into a hotel. There you go. He said that night he was depressed that his best friend didn't live to celebrate their 25th birthday together. They had the same birthday. And that's why he drove to our town to get away from everyone and everything back home for just a night. He apologized a million times and said he would have been in my life had he known especially because I inherited a medical condition from him, and it really sucked dealing with that and having to learn to adjust to it alone. He's diagnosed with it when he was 19, so he knew what I went through. I could tell that he genuinely felt awful about it. I asked him how he even found out about me, and apparently he has a son who is only 5 months younger than me. So his ex-wife, son's mom, is a teacher, and she saw a picture that my school's website posted of the academic team that I'm on.
Oh, wow.
That is so crazy.
That is crazy.
So it's like that mom was a teacher. She just happens to see a picture of OP and is like,
oh, that looks like Junior ex-husband.
and it was probably like, bro, what was going through her mind is like, yeah, you got a second family? You got a secret family? Like,
No, and then they divorced, and now he's meeting you.
She had it sent to my dad thinking I might be related to him because we look so alike. He said he has a brother he hasn't spoken to in over 20 years, so they both initially thought that I could be his nephew, but he found my Instagram, which is public, and he said when he saw a picture of me and my mom on it, he instantly recognized her and knew I was his. And I know people will ask, but no, he did not cheat on his ex-wife with my mom. He didn't meet her until a couple months after the night that he was with my mom. He even admitted that they only got married because she got pregnant early in the relationship, and they're divorced now because they're not even compatible. He offered proof and to even call her himself there to confirm, but I told him that wasn't necessary. He had visited my mom earlier that day that he visited me at work and confirmed with her, even though he'd already knew between my face and the math lining up. But he said he went to the theater anyways because even though he had seen pictures of me, he said he had to see it for himself in person. He said we still need to do a DNA test to establish paternity and so he can add me to his insurance. But between our faces, my birth date, and us having the same rare medical condition, it's obvious he's my dad. Even the waitress made a nonchalant comment about us being a father and son. Oh, well, he sure is your father, Sonny. He asked if we could start having visits to get to know each other, and of course, I said yes.
All right.
I said yes.
Oh.
And I want to know him, even though I still feel some anger at him, and I don't really know why exactly, to be honest. I want to have him back in my life. My mom said I can't go to his house for Christmas, or even at all, he lives an hour away, until she feels comfortable with me leaving to visit him. But she said that he can come visit us on Christmas night, and we would take it from there. At the end of lunch, I brought out my debit card to pay for my half of the meal. I didn't really know what the etiquette was in a first lunch with your biological parent as a teenager.
Usually the parents pay. My parents still pay for me.
Dude.
Thank goodness.
Same. Yeah.
I paid for my mom yesterday.
Oh, that's cute.
He just laughed at that and said that I'm his son and I don't ever have to pay for anything when I'm with him. I don't know why, but that made me feel really good. In the feels. And then he made a joke about owing my mom 17 years of child support anyways, which really just eased the whole situation. He walked with me to my car and gave me a hug, which made me start crying.
Aw.
I know it's cringy and I was embarrassed. It's not.
Okay, dude.
That I was crying in the middle of a diner parking lot, but I just felt an instant connection to him when he hugged me, even though he's still basically a stranger to me. Once again, crying is good.
Thanks, John. I really needed your approval.
He said some stuff to me while he was hugging me and just let me cry for a couple of minutes. By the way, if they want us, Keon, to be with them for 104 days straight, to press play and have us never leave their ears
Their side.
for 104 days straight,
That's it? That's crazy.
Where do they go?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite pod app, search OK Storytime, and we will literally be there for you till your ears fall off.
Yep.
It's still early, I know, but I can just tell he's a good man, regardless of who he was when he met my mom and whatever happened that night. I mean, he sought after me after learning about me, so that has to count for something, right? He could have pretended he never saw my Instagram, or even after talking to my mom and her sending him away, or after meeting me at the movie theater, or after I stormed out when he came to talk that same night. He had so many chances to walk away, but he didn't give up. That shows me that he really does want to have a relationship with me. Anyways, now my issue is scrambling to find a last-minute Christmas present. Oh, I have no idea what to get him. He's a lawyer, so from... Cha-ching.
Insurance lawyer.
Let's go. Right. So from what I could tell from Googling him and the address he gave, he's a rich baby. He probably has everything he already wants. If anyone has any ideas what a man in his early 40s would want or be able to make use of as a Christmas gift, I'd love some suggestions. Go. I know.
A client. Get him a client. That's the best Christmas gift you can give him.
Dude, I
What
thought
were you gonna say?
I thought you were going to say a scrapbook of all the memories that he some sort of fun
All
thing.
of all the memories he
could be
missed,
done.
dude. That is a great idea.
Yeah,
that is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the end. That's it. That's it right there.
My mother-in-law wants to exclude kids from the wedding, but it's my wedding.
Exclude her from living. I said it and I meant it.
All right, here comes the cast. Ages guessed by how old they are now, minus the 3 years in this story. Karen, the entitled mother-in-law, and the devil in disguise. We've got Dave, the father-in-law, Karen's husband, actually a really great guy. John, my husband. Lily, John's sister, and mother of Leo, 13. Logan, 9, and Laura, 5. Mark, John's older brother and father of Matthew and Mary, 10 or 11. There are a lot of names. And then you've got Wienerhead. Wienerhead is the youngest of Karen's children, the entitled mother-in-law, and the only one who's a total Wienerhead. I cannot stress enough how much this guy...
Boom. Look at that.
Hey, by the way, just in case you didn't know, this comes from user deleted. And if you want to submit your own stories, you can go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my husband's mom, Karen, hates kids. I've met very few people who hate children as much as Karen does. She likes them once they're adults, which is why she loves all 4 of her children now. But 2 of her 4 kids have their own children, and she hates the grandkids. That's such a huge red flag. Before each of her children turned 18, she put a roof over their head, made sure they had food on the table and the lights were on, but she found them annoying and irritating when they acted their age, and was always very quick to anger, and would only deal with them when they acted like adults. So my father-in-law, Dave, did the bulk of the parenting. He also did the shelter, the food, and the warming thing, while Karen was cold and distant. Once each kid turned 18, she'd take them on a one-on-one trip somewhere she wanted to go. My husband's sister went to Paris, his older brother to Rome, my husband to Athens, and his younger brother to New York, and gave them the exact same speech. They compared the speeches they got, and it was nearly identical, about how she finds it hard to talk to kids because she's just too mature to understand them, and about how badly she wanted to make up for the lost time and become friends or something like that. John, Lily, and Mark all wanted to cut contact with her as soon as they moved out, but they loved their dad too much to lose touch with him. And as Dave and Karen are still married, they're kind of a package deal. Wienerhead remains his mother's loyal lapdog, willing to do whatever she says. Karen has trips planned for her grandkids when they're 18, psycho behavior, which Leo, now 16, is already trying to get out of. She has gone one step further with the grandkids in that while she was cold and distant with her children, but never went out of her way to be cruel to them, with the grandkids, she is downright cruel. This ranges from telling them the adults are talking whenever they try to speak, to excluding them from monthly family dinners by picking adults-only restaurants, or saying that she and Dave don't have enough room for them at their place, and getting Wienerhead to go along with it.
You know what we tell Karen? These nuts are talking.
I'm actually like a specimen in a jar. I am fascinated by Karen. How could one possibly hold such a perspective on their own kids and grandkids? You are like a little science experiment I want to poke and prod.
You are true. This is a OK Storytime first, where you've segmented your weird Karen-ness.
And they turn 18, and then you're like, oh my God, bestie, yay, we can finally talk now that you're mature. It's like, actually, you're probably the one lacking the maturity. My God. I met John about 7 years ago when Karen tried to set me up with Wienerhead. Long story short, Wienerhead wasn't the best conversationalist, and I found John far more interesting. A couple years later, John proposed, and 3 years ago, we got married. When John and I got married, we agreed that we didn't want a big wedding, but we did want to invite the kids, as Karen always tried to exclude them, and John loves his nephews and nieces and wanted them to be there. We invited 50 people in total, and only 4 couldn't make it, which means 46 came. And that made up about 4 tables of people. It's a big round table, it is. Oh, the seating plan was decided months in advance, and then we talked to the parents who would be coming. Pretty much just Mark and his husband, and Lily and her husband, and asked how they wanted to do this. The options were basically either a table just for the kids, or the kids sit with their parents. And we were fine with either option. The parents asked if we could do a kids' table, bringing it to 5 tables, but have it right near where they'd be sitting with the adults, which John and I agreed to. And with the parents' help, we worked out a separate kids' menu for that table so they'd all eat. Lily also asked if Leo could sit at the adults' table, which we agreed to. The idea of this is that if the kids got disruptive or had any issues at that point, their parents could go over easily and get them to calm down or fix the problem. We also agreed to keep 2 chairs free at that table, so if a parent was needed, they could go sit with their kids. We labeled these seats as the RP seats for rotating parent because the parents assumed that they'd all need to take a turn in these seats at some point. Another thing that is stressing me out is my friend's situation. I actually got my dress from a friend who works on my favorite anime. Don't want to say it, but it does revolve around a demon who slays. They're talking about Demon Slayer.
Oh.
Which is goated. Anyways, they are from Missouri and recently moved to LA. They want to come to my wedding but can't because they're considering working for a card shop in Hollywood. She is tight on money and just applied to the card shop. She isn't sure if this is a good idea because of the management, but really enjoyed the guys who work there. She seems stressed, and I want to ask her to be my bridesmaid. What do I do? She said she may be bringing a +1 from the shop. About 2 weeks before the wedding, we had all the in-laws around our place for dinner when Wienerhead announces loudly that he's going to the bathroom. Cool, didn't need to know that. Thanks, Wienerhead. He walks off. The layout of the flat where we were in at the time meant that to get to the bathroom, you had to go through the bedroom, and Wienerhead knew this, so we didn't think anything of it when Wienerhead went into our bedroom. He came out 5 minutes later, dinner resumed, and we thought nothing of it. The next day, we get a call from Karen. As I said, it's been 3 years, and this was a verbal conversation, so there's some paraphrasing here. Karen, hi, OP. I just wanted to let you know that Dave and I won't be coming to the wedding. Me, what? You're John's parents. He wants you there. I want you there. Dave is walking me down the aisle. That is how badly we both want you to be there. Karen says, you want a babysitter, which we never agreed to. Me, Karen, everyone knows that you don't like kids. We would never make you the babysitter. We don't even have a babysitter. Where did you even get that from? Karen, Wienerhead saw your seating chart. He told me that your chart has 2 seats that say GP for grandparent right at the children's table. We will not be your babysitters. Me, it's RP for rotating parent. Stupid! Lily and Mark came up with it. It's a couple of places at the kids' table for them and their husbands to sit if one of the kids needs them. Karen, bull poop! It's free babysitting! Wienerhead told me it said GP, so don't treat me like I'm stupid. Well, me. Karen, you can come over and look yourself. I'll get it out of the... I realized then that the seating chart was in the bedroom in a folder buried under a pile of clothes. Oh, so did you tell Wienerhead to go through our stuff to find our wedding planner folder, or did he do that all on his own? Now the ball's in your court.
Gotcha.
Pass.
Caught it.
Karen says, I would never do such a thing. Look, I only called to say that me and Dave aren't coming, and now I've done that. I will leave you to sort out your new seating plan. Me, desperate because, man, we love Dave. Is there any way I can fix this? Karen said, yes, get rid of the children, or we won't come.
Wow.
Hey, Karen, shut all the way up, dude. What are you talking about?
Dude, get rid of the children?
You know what Karen's dream scenario is? Castaway. Deserted island with nothing but a volleyball to keep her company. Think of the peace she would feel, the serenity.
If the wedding was filled with balls, Karen would be happy.
I bet she would be. Anyway. Wow. Finally, her evil plan has been revealed. Although I can't tell if she wants me to take them out of the wedding party or take them out, assassin style. Me, I'm sorry, Karen, but we want the kids there. Karen, well, then we'll see you when you get back from the honeymoon. Me deciding to call her bluff. Karen, ... Me, yes. Karen, the oldest one can come. The 11-year-old.
We do not negotiate with the rest.
Me, he's 13, and they're all coming. All 5. It's our wedding, our guest list, our seating plan. Karen. Well, you know how I feel about kids. They ruin everything. Me, which is why you are not sat at the kids' table. We get back from our honeymoon on date. We maybe could do lunch the week after, but we'll be busy playing catch up at work. So see you when we see you. Bye. Karen. Wait. Me. Yes. Karen. I'm not going to be your babysitter. Me. I literally didn't ask you to, so we will see you there then? Karen, sulking. Yeah. Me. Great. See you then. Click. 2 weeks later was the wedding. Both Karen and Dave attended. Karen wore a white dress.
What?
Because she's a see you next Tuesday.
John, what do we never, ever, 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 ever do, even if you get the bride's permission?
Wear white at a wedding.
Exactly. What?
Karen wore a white dress because she's literally the worst, and I hate her, and tried to change some stuff like the cake and the flowers, as well as inviting 25 of her own friends.
25, dog? Dog, 25?
Remember the pit that they had in 300? I am heel kicking this person into that pit. I wish I had a picture of this person so I could Photoshop it onto that scene and watch her get heel kicked into the oblivion.
And remember, there was 46 people going already, so she has literally increased the wedding by 50%.
Nope, you're going to say, hey, you're not coming in and it's her fault. Go talk to her. She's already been kicked out of the wedding. So to be clear, she tried changing all these things on the day before the wedding, but got nowhere. Dave was amazing and walked me down the aisle as planned. He also took a turn at the kids' table because he loves his grandkids more than anything. It was a great day, and no one even noticed Karen refusing to even look at her own grandchildren, or Wienerhead just being plain rude to them, telling them it was meant to be adults only, and we didn't want them there. Are these people like Squidward? Like, who are these people?
I hate children.
By the way, I want to let you know an amazing fact, which is that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this whenever you want. Just go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast from and just search the letter O, the letter K, and then story time.
And you can do it anytime.
Okay, we've got like just a little bit of story left here. Do we have anything to say here, John? I mean, I love how they put all of this cast on here. We didn't need that at all.
There was like Lily and like 4 kids, and I'm like, I refuse to write their names down, and I know it.
You're just like her. You're like, I refuse to acknowledge the children until they are of age. And then we can be best friends forever.
I want the kids to cease to exist.
Today is the first day. You have 15 children. You must write all their names down as well as their ages. Bottom line, the moral of the story is just have nothing to do with this god-awful woman. She's terrible. So the kids at the wedding were also very well behaved, sitting through the ceremony patiently, enjoying the food and dancing, and most of all, the cake. They really are great kids. In the present day, we have stopped talking to Karen and Wienerhead, but remain close with Dave, Lily, Mark, and the kids. Karen stays entitled and crazy because she worried we wouldn't recognize her otherwise. She's done worst things since, but it's been 3 years and I still can't get over her "it's me or the kids" ultimatum. And that is the end of that story. My future mother-in-law threw their family heirloom engagement ring down a drain because she hates me.
Wow.
I have seen a lot of crazy people in my life, but my potential future mother-in-law is the absolute worst person I have ever met. I, 30 female, have been with my boyfriend, 31 male, for 8 months now. By the way, this comes from user Brightside256, and you can submit your stories on the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Now that's a bright side I can get behind.
For the first few months, everything was amazing. He is the sweetest and most caring man I have ever been with. He likes to surprise me with fun dates and flowers for no apparent reason. So the biggest surprise of all was when I met his mother. I met his parents for the first time a few months ago. The first thing future mother-in-law said to me when I walked in the door was, "Are you Jewish?" I am not, and I am not particularly religious, but I was raised Catholic. Once I told her this, it was the beginning of the madness. She immediately stopped talking to me and acted as if I didn't exist. I was extremely nervous about meeting my boyfriend's parents, so this broke my heart. I was determined to make a good impression, so I kept trying to connect with her. This was a huge mistake, and I should have just let it go. Once we were all seated for dinner, she finally decided to try and make conversation. I have naturally red hair, and she asked me if my parents have the same color. I told her that I have the same hair as my mother. She then had the audacity to ask me, does the carpet match the drapes?
Whoa. Dude, the mom? You know what's funny is that like a usual insane mother-in-law is like the first thing she said when she came to the door. That was just like even out of left field for like the crazy Karens.
I had no idea how to respond and just sat there stunned. Seeing my reaction, she said, don't worry, I'll just ask my son about it later. I looked over at my boyfriend, who seemed equally as shocked, but he didn't say anything. She then started to go on about my hair being too curly. She told me that I really need to learn how to run a brush through my hair and think about my appearance more when I'm out with her son. Then, when I didn't eat much at dinner, she gave me her version of a compliment. I was told it was good that I'm watching what I eat because it would be a shame if I got any bigger. This was just my first meeting with this woman. As soon as I got into the car, I burst into tears until I got home. My boyfriend was texting me and apologizing for his mother's behavior, but the damage was done, and I told him I needed time to think. He went into apology overload after this and started sending flowers to my office every day and leaving me messages begging me to talk to him. I finally agreed, and we went out to dinner. He told me he spoke with his mother about her inappropriate comments, and he swore it would never happen again. With this reassurance, I decided to give it another chance. Fast forward 2 weeks to when he invited me to come to a family birthday party. This time, I would also be meeting his sisters and grandparents. His grandparents and sisters are awesome people. They asked me normal questions about my job, family, and friends.
Whoa!
What a breath of fresh air right there. His mother seemed to be avoiding me throughout the evening, and honestly, I was okay with that. I went to grab something from my purse and noticed that it was not where I left it. I looked everywhere, but I could not find it. I went and asked my boyfriend, and he began to help me look. He then got a strange look on his face, and he quickly went upstairs. I could then hear a lot of yelling begin. He came back down holding my purse after a few minutes and told me that we were leaving. Once we got in his car, I asked him what was going on. His mother had taken my purse so that she could see my driver's license.
Oh.
She intended to run a background check on me. He told me she had told him this earlier, but honestly had thought she was joking.
Oh my God.
I thought that it was best if I avoided any of his family functions for the time being. This worked out great for a while, and he went to any of his family parties alone. He would ask me each time before leaving if I was sure that I didn't want to go, but I always declined. Last week, his family had their family reunion, and he asked me to please come with him. I was very reluctant, but considering there would be so many people present, I didn't think she would pull anything. Dude, what do you mean? If anything, that increases the likelihood of her pulling something.
He's like, ooh, there's people here I can expose her on.
Yeah, exactly. Aha! Now everyone will see she has red hair upstairs and downstairs. When we got there, everything was going great. I met his extended family and got to catch up with his sisters. His mother did seem to be shooting me death glares all night, but I brushed it off. Soon she came over and joined a table I was seated at with his sisters and some cousins. The conversation was pleasant as we were talking about his sister's children. His sister had a daughter who is 12 and is the same age as my niece. I then showed his sister a picture of my niece on my phone. His mother took a look at the screen and began to laugh. She told me she hopes that if me and her son ever have children, that they don't look like my niece.
Oh my gosh.
My niece is beautiful, by the way, and she is only 12 years old. What kind of monster attacks a 12-year-old child's appearance? This was my breaking point, and I went off like a volcano. I started to scream at her and told her she's the most evil person I have ever had, to the disadvantage of meeting. I told her if I ever did have children with her son, she can be certain she'll never meet them because double hockey sticks is way too far to travel to. I'm not 100% certain exactly everything that I said, but from what his younger sister later said, it was epic. She began to play the victim and wailed that I had just misunderstood her joke. My boyfriend came rushing over at this point, and she threw herself into his arms, telling him I'm a horrible woman and he needed to throw me out right now. He told her that wasn't going to happen and to stop making a fool of herself. She seemed to accept this for a moment and sat back down. She just kept sobbing that I just didn't understand how to take a joke.
Because she loves publicly shaming people, she needs to be publicly shamed, and it's happening.
Seems to be. I don't know. Then something in her snapped as she noticed something that my boyfriend was holding in his hand and began to have another meltdown. I didn't understand what was happening at this point and just stood there watching a grown woman pitch a fit like a toddler. None of what she was saying made any sense to me, as it was mostly just incoherent screaming, but I did pick up on many derogatory comments directed my way. My boyfriend then told me we were leaving and told me to grab my things. As I started to get ready, future mother-in-law made a lunge for my boyfriend's hand and grabbed the small box he was holding. She then looked me dead in the eyes and said,
You'll never have this ring, you little booty hole.
She ran outside and threw the box down a storm drain.
I forgot about the title. Down the drain. Oh.
Don't go into storm drains unless you're retrieving priceless family heirlooms under adult supervision while the weather is clear.
But you can find in the world and like nature and forests that aren't storm drains, places like that.
Go ahead, tell me.
You tell me.
I'll tell you. It's stories like this one. Full episodes of stories like this. They're just growing on trees, and we've plucked all of them and put them in one place for you to listen to, and that's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. All you got to do is search OK Storytime, and there you have it. It turns out that my boyfriend was intending on proposing to me. He had just obtained his grandmother's ring while we were at the reunion. His grandmother is completely heartbroken because now her ring is down a storm drain instead of continuing on in the family as she had always wanted. So grandma gets to tackle this horrendous woman, right?
Bro, if Granny threw hands, I would literally jump out of my seat with joy.
I don't know where to go from here. I am devastated, confused, and exhausted. Can I ask him to never see his mother again? I'm sure you can ask that. Is that my place to say something like that? I mean, it is if he was going to propose to you. I'm sorry that my story is so long, but I really needed to get this rant off my chest. Hey, don't worry about it. Get down in that storm drain. What are you doing?
Honestly, boyfriend needs to get in there. This is his mom, his ring.
If you want to prove it to your terrible future mother-in-law that you mean business, you'll crawl down in a sewer drain. Yes, you can get it.
Because, like, it's already crazy that she took it, but throwing it down the sewer drain, bro? Mom should be the one picking it. But could we, like, basically kind of, bear hug her until we carry her over the drain, and then we get her down, and then we put the lid over to where she can't get out until she shows us through one of the, those little holes? She has to poke the ring up under the little hole, and then we lift the lid to let her out.
I think you've got the chain of events rolling right there. Guys, I just want to let you know, again, I'm not advocating for just like a random vacation down in the storm drain, okay? I'm advocating that if your insane, unhinged, wackadoo mother-in-law throws a family heirloom down the storm drain, you don't just have to go, it's gone forever. You can go down in there and get it.
Honestly, who's worse, mother-in-law or Pennywise? Be honest.
Mother-in-law threw that ring down there, and Pennywise went, ow, God.
At least Pennywise, like, there's some sort of entertainment in the drain. Like, you just have your hopes and dreams thrown down the drain with his mother-in-law. So, like, there's, like, some kind of entertainment. Like, he's a clown,
Anyway, hey, guys, we got an update. Post ring in the storm drain. Let's go. I have been getting messages asking for an update on my situation with my future mother-in-law, so I thought I'd make a quick post on what happened most recently. My fiancé went no contact with her after everything that happened. This lasted all about a week before she showed up banging at our door. My fiancé was at work and I was alone at home at the time. She was wailing that she was sorry and just wanted to see me to apologize. Since I have neighbors who were beginning to watch this spectacle, I let her inside to talk. At first, she was very apologetic and said she just wants to have a fresh start. She was pretty convincing, and I was actually considering just letting it all go. That's when she saw my Christmas tree, and all 8 double hockey sticks broke loose yet again. She began to scream that I was trying to convert her son to Christianity, and that I was just a little gardening tool who was trying to ruin her family. I asked her to please leave and that she was not welcome here, but she was not budging. That's the fun part when you get to call the police. She told me that no son of hers would ever celebrate Christmas and proceeded to run towards the tree. She began tearing off every ornament and throwing them, leaving them smashed on the floor. I have many childhood and family ornaments on my tree that are very precious to me. Several were smashed in her rampage. I had to grab her and physically drag her away. This ended with her punching me several times and biting me on my hand. I finally was able to throw her out the front door and grab my phone to call the police. She proceeded to scream like a banshee out front and call me every name in the book. The police arrived soon after, and just like that, she completely stopped her fit and began to try to play the victim. Talk to your neighbors. Your neighbors will back you up.
Ooh, facts. Yeah. Oh, they definitely hate her.
She told the police that I was an intruder in her son's apartment and that I had attacked her. The police had arrived with an ambulance, which she was promptly taken to because she was feeling faint and was in distress after my brutal assault on her. The police then came to interview me, and I told them what had actually happened. I showed them the bite mark on my hand and the bruises that were beginning to form. My fiancé arrived at the scene and immediately came to my side. He confirmed to the officers that I do live there and his mother is a nutcase. Seeing that her son was siding with me, sent her into yet another tantrum. The police asked me if I would like to place charges against future mother-in-law. Please, yes, please, yes.
Charge.
I looked to my fiancé and I could tell that he was conflicted on what to do. I had to do what would make me feel safe in the end. I decided to press charges. Future mother-in-law was taken to the hospital and then arrested upon her release. She's now facing charges and I have taken a restraining order against her. Yes, this is amazing. This has placed a serious strain on my relationship with my fiancé. He and the rest of his family want me to drop the charges against his mother. Why?
No.
He tells me that since I have a restraining order, she can no longer come near me, so I have nothing to worry about. What happens if you get the restraining order and then she breaks it and then you press charges? Your husband's still going to be like, no, don't press charges because the restraining orders, we'll do another one. I don't think he fully understands how terrifying this experience was for me. He tells me that it is my decision in the end and he'll stand by me, but he doesn't want to see his mother go to prison. Part of me just wants to pack my bags and run. I told him that I felt this way and he's begging me to stay with him. He says that we can move and have no contact with his family in the future. I'm so confused and conflicted on what to do. Update number 2. So this is the ring update. Ring in the storm drain update now.
Oh, God.
This is the ring update. Ring in the storm drain update now. I have been getting a lot of messages asking for an update on the ring situation. Unfortunately, it could not be found. The city came out to try and assist. They could not uncover anything. My fiancé and his family were devastated by this, and many of them have ceased communication with future mother-in-law because of this. The ring had high significance in the family, more than I understood at the time of writing my first post. This was literally the straw that broke the camel's back for many of the family members. Not to be that guy, but nobody got down in the storm drain immediately to get the family heirloom. His sisters have chosen to keep contact with future mother-in-law, and one of them told me that she's playing the victim card. She's saying that she had a mental break, and we all need to be more compassionate and understanding of her. I call this total crap, and I know she knew exactly what she was doing when she threw the ring down the storm drain. I have a theory that the ring never went down the drain to begin with. I think that maybe she hid the ring somewhere on herself and threw the box down the drain. I have no way to prove this, but I have expressed this concern to my fiancé and his family. It's a rather large house, though, and could be hidden anywhere. I don't think the ring will be found anytime soon. On a happier note, I am now engaged to my fiancé. My engagement ring does not have the same sentimental value as the other ring, but I love my new ring just the same, and it's all mine. I am very happy to be engaged, and I cannot wait to spend my life with my fiancé. My fiancé is on low contact now with his mother, but word has reached her that we are engaged. After she found out, she apparently refused to leave her room for 3 days. She refused to speak to anyone or eat any food. The drama of this woman is unbelievable to me. Soon after I was told about her quote-unquote condition, I started receiving a lot of strange emails and phone calls. I started getting phone calls from strange men asking me to perform a variety of different things for them. Obviously, I was mortified by this and immediately changed my phone number. I told my fiancé what had happened, and he thinks that someone must be giving up my number to men they meet by mistake. No, it's your mom, dude. It's your mom. And also, this is harassment. I'm sure she can be prosecuted for this.
Yes, prosecute.
She needs to be in prison. I didn't believe that. So I did a Google search of my phone number and found a few Craigslist ads written about me. The descriptions are just too similar to my appearance. They even mention my red hair. I truly believe this is future mother-in-law doing this. She knows how to post on Craigslist as she sells a lot of used things there. I have also mysteriously been signed up for a variety of different dating sites and corn cob sites. If this is future mother-in-law, then I just don't know when she's going to stop. This is low level to drop to, and I cannot believe how pitiful this woman is. I showed this all to my fiancé and told him my suspicions. He doesn't think his mother has the tech savvy to be able to pull this off.
Shut up, dude. Oh my gosh. It's the 21st century. Anyone can do anything.
Have you seen Craigslist? It's a list.
Craigslist is from 1999. It's never been changed. Then what he said next chilled me to my bones, as I thought his older sister liked me. He said his older sister had mentioned that to maintain a healthy relationship, you should be checking your partner's phone daily. She proceeded to tell him there should be no secrets and I shouldn't have a problem showing him my phone when he got home. I mean, look, if you come to that conclusion with your partner, then that's perfectly fine. But like, if you get strong-armed into it by some stinky freaking sister, yeah, that's a different story. I don't like how your husband's being a real limp noodle right now.
Wet toast spine.
I was going to ask his sisters to be in my bridal party, and now I don't even know where I stand with them. Do they hate me too? What in the heck did I do to deserve this? I truly don't know who I can trust anymore. I've decided to limit what I tell them going forward, as I currently think they are future mother-in-laws. Bye. For now, I'm going to try and enjoy my engagement and put all of this out of my head. I guess I'll just have to wait and see what happens with his family. Well, everyone, I know I will be trashed for being so stupid, but many of you have asked for an update. I left my fiancé after everything happened, and I was heartbroken. A few days after leaving and staying with my parent, I found out the news. I'm pregnant.
Oh my God. You know what I just remembered? Grandparental rights. It's a real thing, as we have discovered in this show. Now, those can be lost, of course.
She should have none. That mom should have none.
But does she start off with some and only get it taken away once she is abused it enough to be taken away in the court of law?
I think it's the other way around. I think you have to prove grandparents' rights first. I don't think you start with them. I think you have to prove that they're needed. I came to the apartment to tell him the news, and his mother was there. He decided to side with her, his terrible demon mother. She screamed the loudest banshee scream I've ever heard. She told me that I need to terminate immediately. I told her I would not do that. I plan to keep the baby. That is when this monster attacked me. I'm going to omit that because that's terrible. I was attacked by a monster and I called the police. The limp, flaccid linguini, worthless, I wouldn't even pee on him if he was on fire. He did nothing to help. Only said stop from the sidelines.
Oh my God.
I would be tackling her. What?
Luckily, I'm okay. I truly regret dropping the restraining order. I now don't know what to do. I think he still has rights as a father, but I don't know how to fix it, so they don't have access. I think you should actually file a police report and say that you were attacked by the mother and that he did nothing. I am now pregnant and alone, living with my parents. Any advice is appreciated, but please leave out the negative comments. I'm not sure I can handle them. Hey, everybody, really quick trigger warning. This story does have some depictions of physical violence while pregnant. So if that is something that you don't want to listen to, go ahead and skip to the next story. So I have been asked many times about what happened after. When I got home that day, my mother took one look at me and was furious. I had a black eye and bruises. I declined the ambulance and went straight to my parents, which normally I'd say don't do that, but honestly, this is America, and sometimes ambulances can be extremely expensive. My mom led me to my bed and made me a cup of tea, and then she just kept asking, who did this? Oh, we're going to get mom versus mom?
Ooh, mom on mom action?
She thought it was my ex, but when I told her the truth, she was even more furious. I explained everything to her that had happened, I never told her before, and told her all the gory details. She calmed me down and left to go make me some food, but she actually left the house. A few hours later, she came back. She had what she called her trophy, which is actually a large clump of ex-future mother-in-law's hair.
Yo, mama's a ride or die, bro. Oh my goodness.
She actually put it in a memory box. She told her that she will never lay eyes on her grandbaby and many other colorful things. My mom is actually an ex-bodybuilder and very into fitness.
There's no chance that evil mother-in-law has any sort of fitness whatsoever.
After that, I got a call from my ex and he just screamed at me. Mom took the call and told him never to contact me again or he will get the same treatment that was given to me. And he has not contacted me since. Woo! Okay, and hey, by the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories like this whenever you want. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, search OK Storytime, and there you have it. And I think I do believe that is the end of that story. I apologize for that description I gave at the end of the story, but it really does feel like that's what they want. Right? It's like maybe a better description would be like, you know how like the penguins, they like they live on the feet of the penguin parents. It's like that's where he just wants to live on his mom's penguin feet. He wants to be in the penguin pouch. He's just a big stinky penguin trying to live in his mama's penguin pouch. And I bet it's what the mom wants too.
Absolutely crazy. My in-laws demanded to see my newborn son, but she hated the boundaries I set up to keep him safe.
Oh, looky who hates safety.
So this officially started because my great mother-in-law really wanted to see my newborn son. My great mother-in-law over the years has started to show signs of what I believe is dementia and doesn't make the best judgments. By the way, this comes from Bye Queen for Life on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I have also realized that she can be emotionally manipulative and has been that way before she started to show signs of not being completely there. I won't go into much detail about this, but just trust me when I say she's overall not a great person, but she's still my husband's grandmother and I would have never done anything to upset her. Now, after about 2 months, my grandmother-in-law has been really pushing to see my son. Both me and my husband were hesitant about this because she has been really sick recently. On top of that, she has a history of being sick and not telling one until after the fact. Example, a family gathering. That is a not great time and place to not admit your sickness. When I was hella pregnant, we were invited to Thanksgiving at their house, and I declined to go because I was getting induced the next week. And if I got sick, that would have pushed it back further. My grandma promised she was fine, but I didn't feel comfortable with it and stayed home. Not even 2 days later, she told mother-in-law that she was very sick and wasn't feeling great, even during Thanksgiving. So, all relevant to why I didn't want her to see my son yet, as we are still deep in sick season, and he has just gotten his first round of vaccines. However, much pushing and guilt tripping from both her mother-in-law, sister-in-law. She just decided she could meet our son at our house. Just a little detail. We live with my grandmother, and she helps us with so much with my son. Honestly, the most amazing woman ever. So we decided if grandmother-in-law was going to come over, we were going to set some boundaries to make sure our son was safe and have our own peace of mind. The boundaries were that we weren't comfortable with grandmother-in-law holding son, but would love her to finally be able to see him. I specify this because some people see it was wrong that we would exclude her from holding son, but we specified this to everyone before she came over and grandmother-in-law agreed with it. Remember, she has been continuously sick and won't tell anyone that she is when it comes time to see son. No way in HE double hockey sticks was she going to cancel if she felt ill. Ergo, if she holds son, son gets sick. On top of this, we said that she needed to wear a mask and take a vid test beforehand. And the day that she came over, we received a text from mother-in-law, who was also coming with my grandmother-in-law, and asked what time they should arrive. Mother-in-law has been to our house a few times, so it wasn't a huge deal, but I realize now that it wasn't the best idea. They walk in, and grandmother-in-law shows my grandmother the vid test. Not us, but whatever, and proceeds to stuff the mask she was holding back into her purse. At this point, I'm kind of over it, but I just smile and talk to her for a little bit before going back to the kitchen while my husband took the dog outside to use the bathroom. When I was out of hearing range, or so she thought, she asked my grandmother to hold the son. My grandmother turned to me in the kitchen and repeated the question, and I simply stated, would you mind asking husband when he gets back? Ask your grandson, lady. I figured since it's husband's grandmother-in-law, it would be a lot gentler if he let her down. Absolute facts. Don't make her be the one because that's your grandma. Stupid.
Keep it in the family.
Be a good person and don't make your wife talk to your grandmother about that. That's stupid. Instead, grandmother-in-law started crying, no actual tears, and exclaimed, why does no one like me? Remember what I said about being emotionally manipulative? Yeah, that's what she's doing. I was uncomfortable. My grandmother was uncomfortable. Our poor other dog in the kitchen with me was uncomfortable. Even Doggo could pick up on these fake granny crocodile tear vibes. I excused myself to start laundry after checking in with my grandmother to see if she was okay, holding my son for another minute before my husband came back in. Immediately when I left the room, again, my mistake, my mother-in-law walks over, takes son from my grandmother, and puts him in grandmother-in-law's lap. Arrest.
Nope, we ain't doing that.
Before this, my son was smiling and laughing while my grandmother held him, faced him toward grandmother-in-law. My son lost it and started screaming. Even he knows freaking grandma doesn't need to be in here. My husband walks in at this point, sees son on grandmother-in-law's lap, and immediately grabbed him from grandmother-in-law and went into the kitchen. My mother-in-law was shocked and made a snide comment of, oh, so no one gets him son today? Then they both left after, and my grandmother apologized profusely for the situation when I found out. It definitely wasn't her fault. There's only one granny being sent down the drain today.
Only one stinky grandmother. She smells of old stinky cheese.
But 3 weeks after what I will now call the incident, my mother-in-law has been calling husband, and we explained to her that we were upset with what happened. She didn't grasp what she did wrong, and the conversation ultimately went nowhere. Another week, more calls. Here's what the text message came in to the story. Husband to mother-in-law. Hey, I want you to know I'm not ignoring you, but I'm still not over what happened. We want you to be part of ours and our son's life, but because of the boundaries you broke, we don't feel comfortable having you over for a while. Is this a husband standing up to his mom?
Never seen one of those before.
With reasonable boundaries, too. He's just sending her to the moon. He's like, you're just going to go to the moon, respect our boundaries, and then we'll send you a shuttle and you can come back.
Next week, sister-in-law to husband. So, want to do dinner at mom's on Saturday if y'all are busy? I want to see son. Husband, no. Mom still hasn't even tried to talk to us after her and Nana came over the next day. Sister-in-law to my husband. Hey, what's the deal with mom and Nana? Like, something's been off since that day they came over here and y'all have been distant and I just want to know, like, what's going on? Husband. I already talked to mom, but me and OP decided that we weren't comfortable with mom coming over for a while because she broke our boundaries. It's important to us because we did discuss beforehand what we expected and our son's health is more important than anything. Sister-in-law, oh, okay, but what boundaries are broken?
Hey, hi, is this your first day on the planet?
I'm confused. She wasn't sick or anything? She had been around son before that day when they went over. What happened specifically that made y'all feel uncomfortable other than Nana not wearing a mask? Husband said, we already told mom about it. Don't worry. Then the next day, side note, my postpartum depression has gotten extremely bad and my in-laws are starting to be a little bit much on Facebook. So I took them off. I am guessing that is important foreshadowing to what's to come.
What a beautiful thing to just take people who are bothering you off. Hey, we can all do that, guys. If someone's bugging you, if you're like, I really don't like it when I see their posts, you can just not follow them and block them.
So, sister-in-law to husband. Why did OP unfriend me and mom on Facebook? Stepdaughter just called and said mommy's bawling her eyes out over this whole situation. I don't know what the deal is like, but I hope you realize what y'all are doing to the family. I'm trying not to be in the middle of anything, but mom and Nana feel like they can't talk to you or OP, so what's the deal? This crap can't go on forever. Y'all need to work it out.
Or we can just never talk to them again. But, like, also, both sides need to come to the table.
What do we rarely see in these stories is, like, first off, the husband is standing up to his own family and not being like, okay, family, go eat OP alive like a piranha, right? That's usually what happens. We've seen this literally today multiple times. Second thing we don't usually see is husband and OP basically are like, hey, we had these boundaries. We clearly communicated them in the beginning. We're not comfortable with you guys coming over right now because you just kind of blew through them and you're not even acknowledging it or apologizing for it. And that's, I mean, I do think the husband is doing a pretty decent job. Husband, like I said before, we already talked to mom about it. You said you weren't going to choose sides, and it seems that apparently you have. Please stay out of it. OP unadded everyone because she has way too much going on and she doesn't want to be in the drama. We never said mom wouldn't see son again, but we just still need time. Son is our son, and mom and Nana broke a boundary that we set even before son was born. Even if OP's family did the same thing, it would be the same outcome. We were hesitant about Nana coming over at all because of exactly what just happened. The next day after that, a phone call with sister-in-law and OP causing drama. Husband to sister-in-law again. After that conversation with me and OP have talked and decided we feel you need to completely stay out of everything going on. We understand you're trying to defend mom and be a messenger, but you have more than likely have unknowingly taken her side in this when there is no side. We are son's parents, and we get to decide who does and doesn't see him. We aren't going to keep going in circles on what boundaries are because we have already stated multiple times what they are. What matters now is that mom and now you can't respect that we need time to just move on from the situation. No one is trying to start drama by dragging more people into this. Like, Dad, you're in fact causing drama and we don't appreciate it. In case you forgot, we were very hesitant on Nana seeing son for the very reason that happened. Not only did Nana ask to hold son when both OP and I left the room, but mom took it in her own hands to hand son over to Nana. Again, when OP, they said not to. We already stated we were concerned for son getting sick and we weren't comfortable with her holding him, but that wasn't good enough for them. Son is not a toy. We aren't mad at them, but at the situation, but you have nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter that you're the messenger. You can still come and see son whenever you want, but we need time away from mom to process the situation. So that was just like a big breakdown of everything. You know, it's OP's communicating clearly, is, you know, saying, hey, we said the boundaries. This is our explanation why I want to, you know, just open the air and clearly, maturely communicate like an adult.
Breaking it down to its subatomic parts.
I would say OP's husband is at least attempting the most mature response he can. At least attempting, right? If not achieving.
I would agree.
Sister-in-law, lol, okay.
See, now that would be a perfect example of an immature response.
In case you were wondering, yes, sister-in-law did kind of come out of left field. I received comments that we shouldn't have just let his continued something and just ignored sister-in-law, but we genuinely wanted her to just understand why we were upset, and we would really like her to not get involved. I was just starting to feel like maybe I was just a bee and posted the text messages, names hidden, of course, to a Facebook group called Monster-in-Laws. Not even a few hours later, I received a text from sister-in-law with the screenshots of the post and a question mark. I have no effing clue how she found the post, as she is blocked on my Facebook, but she did. I felt very, very uncomfortable with her just happening upon my post, or if someone on a group of thousands of people recognized the story and sent it to sister-in-law. Really not a fan of that. When I ignored her text, she sent the screenshots to my husband. And here is what followed. Guys, if you thought these text exchanges were done, oh my God, are you mistaken? Oh my God. Husband to sister-in-law. Can you mind your own dang business? That head is hot now. You have done nothing but stir the pot. OP has had nothing but problems since son was born, and honestly, the last thing she needs is this. I don't know what kind of resentment you harbor towards her or why you even do, but you've hated her since we got married. And guess what? You're going to have to deal with it. OP and son are my family now, and they come before anything. I won't let you or anybody act this way towards us. Decide if this is worth having a semblance of a relationship with us. I don't give a crap at this point because honestly, I have zero interest in talking to you ever again.
Boom. Hey, look at that. It's the consequences of your actions showing up.
Would you send that message or not in the husband's position to your sister? I am curious.
I think 100%.
Sister-in-law to husband. I haven't done anything. I've just been the messenger of this whole situation. If that's what you want, then fine. Show OP true character. I forgave OP for what she did to you. She's always assumed I've had it out for her, but I haven't. Oh, you don't understand how much you've affected in our family.
Oh my God. She's not even thinking of herself. Look how good she is. Like, think of the family. This isn't even about me. It's about the fam.
OP caused all of this, your wife. I wasn't the one asking to see the son. I was sticking up for Mom and Nana. They felt like they couldn't say anything to you because they didn't want to upset you. I chose to be the messenger in this whole situation because I actually care about and love my family. You've done irreversible emotional damage to Mom and Nana and now me. I hope you realize that, and I wasn't the one starting drama. If you don't ever want to talk to me again, then fine, so be it. Don't come back to me later saying, I told you so. I've done nothing but try to be nice and accepting towards your wife, who's OP, and all I get is this. But if this is the life that y'all choose, then go ahead.
You should have started with that. You should have just led with that so I could go, all right, peace.
Yeah, stupid. Why don't you say that first?
Stupid. OP has never liked me or Mom or any of our family for that matter, and it comes to picking sides. Don't call me a pot stirrer because I've done nothing wrong. I've only told the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. Getting mad and unfriending me and blocking me doesn't solve anything. Tell me where I've gone wrong in the situation. Please. I was only looking out for Mom and Nana because it hurts to see them go be so upset. This is not guilt tripping you. This is just the honest truth. I haven't done anything wrong, yet I'm causing drama because I'm the only one afraid to pew pew shoot straight with you.
This person is stink.
By the way, did you know that we have full episodes of stories just like this? If you search OK Storytime on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or on anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Honestly, just search OK Storytime on every platform. And if you find anyone who has our name, report them.
I am proud to report we're not over with the text exchange. We're nearing the end of the text exchange. Dakota, talk to me.
Shout out to the husband for being so cool.
Honestly, this is like the most W husband we have seen in a long time in these stories. He is standing on business.
He didn't pull any of the typical stinker moves.
He was not waffling. He stood on business. He said, do not talk to my wife this way.
Husband to sister-in-law. I'm taking my wife's side.
Yeah, good. That's what you should do.
Sister-in-law to husband. Like I said, it's sad you feel like you have to pick a side. We're adults and y'all are married. When you get married, you don't pick sides. Am I wrong? Please tell me what I did wrong. Honestly, this could have been over with the first text to mother-in-law. Husband and I needed a week or two to feel comfortable having them over again, and sister-in-law made it worse. Thank you for reading. Feel free to ask questions, or if you disagree with me, blast me in the comments. I'll take the criticism. OP, not only did we not have criticism for you, we don't have criticism for your husband, who, by the way, as he should, was the liaison to his family. That is how it's done. You talk to your family, partner talks to their family, because there's the home field advantage. That's like what we should do.
I resent my mentally handicapped sister. I get neglected because of her.
I'm not sure what to say about this.
Maybe say it's bad? The title makes me sound horrible, but hear me out. My sister is severely autistic. She requires attention almost 24/7 and cannot be left alone. She is nonverbal and cannot take care of herself at all. Despite the fact that she is only 12, she's extremely destructive and violent and destroys anything she gets her hand on. By the way, this comes from Renegade's Rule 33 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I hate her. That would be wrong to say, but it doesn't feel like it. I was only 6 years old when she was born, and since then, I've never solely had my parents' attention. Even since I can remember, the world has revolved around her. I was moved out of my room into the basement at 7 because she needed to be in the room next to my parents. All of my toys as a child were destroyed by her. My parents simply ignored me when I complained. Even when I was 14 and she destroyed a Mac my school gave me, I was in the wrong. Along with this, I am expected to take care of her and drop everything I do for her. I can never make plans with a friend because my parents expect me to be there if they need me to take care of her. Even when I do somehow get the time to myself, I am required to leave if they need me. If I do not, I am punished. The recent example of this is when I went to see the new Spider-Man movie and was grounded because I turned my phone off in the theater. It seems as if I am nothing more than a slave to them, and anything involving her simply overshadows me. This last week, I was chosen to give a speech at a school event. I was so excited, and my parents promised to be there, but they never showed and claimed it was because of my sister. Anytime anything like this happens for me, they are simply too busy with her. I've held this in for so long, and it finally spilled out today. While talking about colleges with my father, he joked that I should get a degree that pays well, so when they're gone, I can take care of my sister. I don't know why, but this caused me to break down. I cried and screamed about how it was always about her. I'm nothing more than a caretaker to them, and they always make it about her and that I'm expected to be her slave for the rest of my life. I've locked myself in my room since, and my parents have not come to check on me. Am I the a-hole here? And there is an update. When the parents have a kid, it's really up to the parents to take care of that child. It's not like you can't parentify your other children.
Yeah,
that being
especially
said,
when it's like such a high degree of like need and care that's required.
That being said, I wasn't in this situation, but like there were a lot of moments where I had to do things as an older sibling for my younger sibling. I don't think my parents, completely pushed that on me. I think they did a really good job of that balance, but I think there are cases where the parents it's okay for parents to ask for help with their younger kids, but to this degree, no way. Wow, thank you for all the support and love that you guys have given me. I never expected this post to reach the popularity it did. Thank you all. After thinking about it for these past hours, you are right that I don't despise my sister. It's not her fault that she was born the way she is. My parents came to talk to me a while after my breakdown, but I was unable to bring myself to talk to them and only cried and asked them to leave. They have made arrangements with my grandfather for me to stay with him for the time being, and I'm getting ready to go to his house. My parents want to talk to me, but we've decided it's best I leave for now to have some space and time to collect myself. We will be sitting down and talking later this week about this issue. John, we're going to get back to the story, but I got to tell you, I've been loving these pearls that I got in Colombia.
You are a delicious beaded man nowadays.
I do feel more confident at the very least, but I think these pearls pale in the amount of confidence an OK Storytime membership can get you.
That's right. You get 60 plus hours a month of exclusive live stream content. That's advice that'll make you the best version of yourself.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Crack open that oyster and get the blues. But let's get back to the story.
Thank you all again for love and support through this. I'll send an update your guys' way later this week if people are interested. And there is another update. I'm back like I said I would be. My original post got a lot of attention, and seeing as you guys seem interested, here's my updates. Well, since that day, I made a post. I've been staying with my grandfather. The week's been honestly a huge change for me, for better and for worse, but I'll try to run it down. I started by telling my grandpa the story of why I broke down the way I did, and to be honest, he seemed horrified. No one in my family knew my parents were using me as essentially a free care service for my sister. My grandpa told me some things that I don't feel comfortable repeating here, but in essence, my sister is supposed to be getting care from a professional and that my parents were ignoring that. Along with this, I was not supposed to be caring for her at all with her mental state, as apparently she is a danger to herself and others. With everything else I told him, along with stuff like the movie Indecent, he was really mad and told me not to contact my parents without him being there. He pretty much told me that he would be meeting with my parents beforehand and that he was going to be there when I sat down with them. Shout out, Grandpa. It didn't end here either. The rest of the week consisted of other family checking in on me and telling me things my parents hid from me. This included the fact that my parents have been taking money from family to fund a caretaker that doesn't exist.
Oh my God, your parents are scumbags!
Wow.
Oh my God!
Wow. Suffice to say, this week has been rough, but the upside is that even through all of this, my extended family has been giving me more love than I felt in a while. My grandfather spent this last week making up for time I've lost, encouraged me to spend time with friends and do things I want to do. My aunts and uncles have also been helping me through the week. Well, Saturday night, I sat down with parents to talk. It went badly to say the least. They came clean to me about everything. They told me things I will not repeat here, but they did not apologize. My parents still claim that I somehow owed my sister my time. My father even saying, you were put here to be her caretaker. You chose to have a child, and it is your responsibility to take care of that child, not to just flip it on whoever is nearest. I won't lie and say I was composed. After everything I learned, I confronted them on the fact that my sister needed a caretaker. The money my dad was taking from his sister and a few other things. They denied it or made excuses. And in the end, we ended off in a worse place. So today will be my last time talking to them for a while. After talking with my grandfather and uncle last night, I'm not going back. Later today, I'm going there and picking up my stuff and moving in with my grandfather. When I graduate high school, I'm planning on leaving the state to go to school. My aunt has told me that the money she was sending my dad will instead be coming to me from now on. Imagine if OP didn't have the grandpa. Like, the grandpa's really stepping in right here.
Yeah.
And I think also that just goes to show, if you feel like something is going on in your family that is like unfair, I don't know, just like seems like that makes you unhappy, try going to your extended family. Like, you might be surprised with the support that you get.
Yeah, I mean, it just pays to speak up.
It pays to speak up. And
I think in this context, like, if you had even spoken up to your parents, they probably wouldn't have done anything about it from the sound of it. Like, but at the very least, like,
but you can start
letting it be
You
known.
can start with your parents, and then if they are terrible, move up the ladder.
Yeah, because your parents have parents.
Your parents have parents, and those parents have parents.
And then those parents have
Also
parents who are statistically probably no longer
with
us.
A prayer to the ancestors.
Just read.
Okay. My parents have called me twice since Saturday. Neither of them were to apologize and only ask when I was coming home. I won't be going back to them. Right now, I still feel pretty uneasy about everything, but I feel like that will pass. The rest of my family is showing their support to me, and honestly, I feel great. But in the end, I lost my parents. Over all of this, I've learned something that I wish I saw earlier. I don't hate my sister. In fact, I love her with all my heart. I should have never projected my hate onto her. That was wrong. Someday I hope to make up for it, but for now I need to leave. So there's my update. Thanks again for the support my original post got. There is more to the story. I really appreciate everyone who took the time to comment or show me support. Thank you. And there is an edit. I wish I could respond to every post or every comment. I'll be update tonight on how the move went. But until then, thank you all. I want to say that your support has been amazing and your kindness means more than anyone can imagine. And late edit, wow, I never imagined my story would reach the popularity it did. I know it's kind of cliche, and I've said it 1,000 times, but thank you all. We just got back from moving things out of my parents' house. Everything I wanted to take, my grandpa and uncle helped move, and it's at my grandpa's house now. I have my birth certificate, social security card, and every other document and record I could think of. My parents were quiet the whole time I was there. Shortly after I arrived, my dad left with my sister, and my mom only hovered over us silently as I moved.
Ugh.
It took a while, but as we left, she broke down and told me she loved me and would miss me. I hugged her and said goodbye. That was that. But you should never say goodbye to us, because you can listen to us 24/7 in your ear holes on our podcast, OK Storytime, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, one of the weird ones that I'm not mentioning. Just freaking put us in your ear holes. You can do it while you're running, while you're working, while you're doing the dishes, while you're making food.
The possibilities are endless.
Endless.
All you got to do is search OK Storytime.
There's a little bit more to this story. Even now, I sit here and think if she really meant it.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. It's like, how are you going to like do that weird silent hover and then be like, I love you, I'm going to miss you. It's like, it feels like your weird silent hover tactic to, I guess try to get him to be like, okay, fine,
Maybe
I won't move.
Stay. Yeah, no.
And then it's like, you're like, well, let me try to emotionally guilt him. And it's like, dude.
I don't know. I think that could have been genuine.
You're not sorry, though.
You're not sorry, and they didn't do what was right. But there's more to this story. But I do think that maybe that was genuine, where it was like I actually am slowly realizing what I did was wrong, or like the effects of my actions.
Mm-hmm.
At least we can hope. Right now, I think I just need to look ahead. Maybe one day me and my parents can reconnect. I hope so. Thank you for all the advice and love. It's been amazing, and I'm glad that through this experience, I at least got some positives out of this mess. Will I come back? I don't know. If something happens and you guys still want an update, I'll maybe come around again. But for now, I'm going to move on. For all those out there who shared their stories with me, thank you. And I hope to see you on the other side. See you, Space Cowboys. And that is where that story is.
Wait, look.
Space Cow. Oh, did you embroider that?
See you around, Space Cowboy.
I embroidered that. He did embroider it.
I
love you, OP. I love love you.
Dude, OP's a real one. OP is a real one.
My brother's fiance keeps forcing herself to our family despite our boundaries.
Yeah, you're not supposed to show up with 3 fishes at the family function. We just want 1. Okay, that's my boundary.
My female 25 stepbrother Nico, 29, has recently got engaged to a woman called Jenny after dating for 2 years. We all tried to welcome Jenny, especially knowing that she grew up in the foster care system and didn't have family. By the way, this comes from FS in Law on the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
And that's the only reason, because she just didn't have another family. We tried to welcome her.
The only reason. We tried to get to know her, but she seemed to want an instant, intimate connection rather than building one. Me and my younger stepsister, Chelsea, 22, bore the brunt of her neediness, but our parents have also expressed concerns. Since she met us, she has been trying to insert herself into pictures, family disputes, and social events. She has no boundaries. We've all talked to Nico about it so many times, even sitting him down as a family, and he keeps saying he will talk to her, but nothing changes. And it's gotten worse since the engagement. She tried to make me her maid of honor, demanded my mother throw her a bridal shower, started calling my parents mom and dad, even though they asked her not to, and reached out to distant family members that we don't even talk to tell them about the engagement. Oh wow, that is a lot. Last week we were all, Chelsea, Nico, me, and our partners, staying at our parents' place. Jenny, Nico, and my boyfriend were the only ones not up yet, and the rest of us were in the kitchen. Chelsea, my mom, and I were talking about taking a weekend trip. Jenny came in, having overheard us, saying it sounded like fun, and proceeded to invite herself along. I was pretty annoyed by this and said she couldn't just invite herself. Jenny said, why wouldn't she be invited? And I said, because marrying Nico doesn't give you a blanket invite to every single thing all his family does. Dang. Wow. That's a little harsh, I think.
Golly.
Jenny got upset and said that she would really like to be included in our family since it was the only one she knows and she doesn't have a proper family. I said, I know that and we all sympathize, but that doesn't mean that we owe you a new one. Oh, dang. Man, this is rough.
I'm kind of going to hint OP that you don't really like this person.
Yeah, I feel like when you're like welcomed into a family like that, like as a significant other, like you kind of are accepted as the family, especially if you're gonna marry them too. Like, you're now in the family. Yeah.
Yep.
The whole room was silent, and Jenny got up and went back upstairs. She didn't come out the rest of the day, but Nico came down to chew me out over what I said. Our parents defended me, saying he had an opportunity to talk to Jenny, and he hadn't. He and Jenny left the same day, and he's now only keeping low-level contact with everyone.
Okay, I think too earlier whenever Jenny, dunking on Jenny like Vince Carter, that is so funny. Thank you for that. I know exactly what that means. Whenever she was talking about like Jenny wanted an immediate intimate relationship, she was probably like something simple like, hey, let's play Scrabble together.
Right. I know. I was expecting her like coming into conversation and being like, so like what problems did you guys have as a family growing up? Like, did you guys have to go to therapy or something? Or like, you know, but she's just like trying to hang out, man. I do get that, like, you know, speaking to relatives that she doesn't really know, that is a little weird, but it's not that bad. Okay.
Girl, just, I don't know. It's just, you're part of the family. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine. I do feel bad, but I also feel like Jenny has been overstepping. We are all open to a relationship with her. We all have good relationships with our partners in the family, but she never really made a genuine effort to build relationships with us. She just decided she was entitled to them, which I think isn't fair.
Kat said, this is because Angie said it was okay to bully.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's my fault. My bad. My bad, guys.
This is all your fault.
My bad. I don't know if I should reach out to Nico or Jenny with a more fervent apology, which I will if I have really screwed up here. I don't want to be the reason Nico stops talking to us. I just feel like he dropped the ball by letting it get to this point. Edit. Okay, I'm adding this because I thought it was implied, but maybe not. We do push back when Jenny is being intrusive. I can't count how many times I've said, Jenny, I'm not comfortable about talking about my spicy sleep life, therapy, medication, etc. It's really personal. Can we just change the subject?
Oh, okay.
That does change things. That does change things. Seems like she is kind of invading the information a bit.
If she's having us ask her multiple times to stop talking about that.
Yeah, and also asking about spicy sleep life to your
brother,
like sister-in-law, brother.
To be like, how much? The only way I would ever talk to my brother about it is like, how much are you doing in a week? That's it.
What the hell?
That's it.
What do you?
Or a month. Sorry, a month. You want me to say a day? I'm not
That's
gonna
what
ask
you
him
want to
how many
talk
times.
about? How many times you doing it? I'll be like, are you using protection?
I don't care if he's doing that.
Oh
I want-
my God.
I want nephews and nieces.
Oh.
I want nibblings. Sue me.
We move on from the conversation, but the next time I talk to her, it's back to square one. Same with my parents. They politely ask her not to call them mom and dad, and she stops for the duration of that conversation and then starts again next time. We've never had a more in-depth conversation with her. We offered, and Nico said no. He would talk to her. Edit number 2, for everyone saying I should consider Jenny family because she's engaged to Nico. That isn't what I meant with that comment. I commented this elsewhere, but I'm copying it because it encapsulates when I was trying to get across. I never said or meant that she isn't a part of the family. I guess what I meant with what I said was you can't parachute yourself in and expect us to be family you deserve. Because the family every person deserves is one with their mom and their dad, and it's happy and it's from birth. And you don't have to do anything to earn it. Sadly, not everyone gets that. I know I didn't. And I know how much it must suck for her to feel like she has to work for what other people got for free.
Mm-hmm.
I have a crappy bio dad, so I kind of know. You think, why do I have to be good and clever and kind and a million other things to have a good family while all anyone else has to do is just be born? And it's the worst. But when you come into a family that already exists, that's the way it is. They learn to love you and it takes time. My stepdad didn't love me the second he met me or love me just because he loved my mom. He got to know me and figured out who I was as a person, and he loved me for me. We wanted to have that opportunity with Jenny, and maybe that doesn't feel good enough for her, and I guess it's not really fair that she doesn't have any other kind of unconditional love, but I don't think that's up to us or anyone to fix. That's just my view. There is another update, but
Real
what are your thoughts?
quick, Robin Van Horn earlier said that Jenny may be on the spectrum because if she's not really, I know it was like a while ago, Keon, you're good. If she's not really getting the hint not to talk about these certain subjects, she might not like understand like I don't know,
Social
like
cues?
social cues.
Yeah.
That might be a point.
Yeah, maybe.
Why she might be acting a little bit not as warmly that OP would like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seems like she's really trying, and I don't blame her for that, but she's just really is trying in like the wrong ways to get to know these people. But there is another update. Wow, that post blew up. In no small part to my extensive replies while sitting in an airport lounge on a layover, I am still getting DMs asking for an update, so here it goes. First, thanks everyone for your advice. I received some really insightful messages and comments, which were really helpful and heartfelt. Long story short, we decided to have a session with a family mediator. Oh wow. It was me, my boyfriend, Jenny, Nico, my parents, and Chelsea. I'm not sure if I can fit in all the insights from the session, so I'll keep to key things. Firstly, for all those wondering if Nico ever actually told Jenny what we said, Nico talked to Jenny about our concerns precisely twice, and a third of the times we brought it up. She said it was presented to her as an offhand comment from our parents, rather than the intervention that it was. Second, basically, one of the main things that came up was how Nico kind of sold our family to Jenny as a blended family she could slot into, and she got really invested in that. Nico said that he kept hoping that it would all work itself out once Jenny felt more secure in their relationship. Then came the real crux. Jenny said that she wasn't just looking for a relationship with Nico, but with a whole family. And we all had a long discussion about what that looks like for us in an ideal world, and it was vastly different. Then the mediator asked her the question, if you never get the relationships you want from this family, do you think you'll still be able to have a happy relationship? That's a good question.
Yeah.
And she said she didn't know. Wow. Interesting. This kind of triggered Nico, who said he felt like Jenny was making him feel like he wasn't enough on his own and that she wanted a family from him more than a relationship with him.
She probably does like the big support Nico has as a family.
Yeah.
And that's what she's attracted to.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're in a relationship, like your family, like you getting along with the family is important. And so, that's not like it shouldn't be a factor. If they don't like you or something like that, then it's like, maybe it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
But it sounds like she has some things to sort out on her own with her trauma with growing up in the foster care system. And maybe it might not be the best time for a relationship yet. Yikes. Then Jenny got upset and said, why couldn't we all just try to be the family she needed? At which point my boyfriend had an uncharacteristic moment of insanity and went off on her.
Oh no.
Then he and I left the room. I was right in the middle of lecturing him when everyone else came out except Nico and Jenny and said that they needed the rest of the session to discuss what had been said. By the way, you can hear more stories like this on any of your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you so choose. Just search OK Storytime and you'll have full episodes, stories just like this. But yeah, what do we think?
I just therapy. I think everyone can agree here therapy, and she
Yeah.
probably needs some more reflecting to do.
Right.
Because I'll be honest, I know someone that got engaged 7 weeks after they started dating.
Ooh.
And I know from a fact that the girl is in a broken family. And I think it's like a savior complex that the guy is engaged to her so he can get her out of it. Because his parents were in similar situations and they worked it out because his dad saved the mom from a really bad family situation. So he's just doing what he's been seeing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It is.
Yeah, because she was, saying like, why can't we all just be the family that like I need, but it's like, but we don't know you that well, like we can't just like be a family because like, obviously I'm sure that they like have some love for her because they, love Nico, but it just doesn't, you just don't have that, you can't just force that connection and just pretend. Yeah. But I mean, I guess,
But she doesn't know what a relationship looks like because like growing up, it was the government.
Yeah, I guess so. And like going from house to house probably.
Huh.
But there is a little bit more. So let's get on into it. Nico came back to our parents' place later and said that he and Jenny are taking a beat because she's ruminating on what the mediator said, and he's pretty crushed that she might not want to be with him if he doesn't come with a ready-made family attached. He said he was prepared to pretty much give up a family for her, but she won't even give up the idea of one for him. Oh, man. He's now staying with my boyfriend and me until further notice. We haven't had any further conversations with him and Jenny. He's not in the headspace for it. If they stay together, I foresee a lot more mediation. And at the end of the day, everyone on the thread was right in some way. I was an a-hole for saying what I said in the way I said it. And this conversation between all of us should have happened earlier. And that is the end of that story. Oh, man.
Good on OP admitting like I was an a-hole.
Yeah, that's nice. And I mean, that shows that there's possible progress too. If everyone can be self-aware, and it's good that they talk to a mediator, so they're looking for some help. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
I offered to help my spoiled sister. Now the other one is mad at me.
You can't have favoritism with your sisters.
No more baby talk. We passed the baby talk.
Sorry.
No.
PTSD. I, 26, am the older brother of 2 sisters, Maya, 19, and Tia, 21. Our parents are complete a-holes, and Maya was their golden child, and honestly, a complete and utter spoiled B. B or itch? B, or do I say itch?
Itch. I don't know. Either work.
Chat, what do you like?
Itch.
Out of respect, I'll say B for Sophia. I get that's harsh to say about a kid, but she was. By the way, this comes from Throwaway80 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. She got special treatment and would always get away with everything. Our parents basically encouraged it, despite basically leaving me to raise my sisters so they could go enjoy themselves. When I was 18, Tia was 13, and Maya was 11. I moved out. I stayed in contact with Tia, though I quickly gave up on trying to connect with Maya, honestly. Our parents and Maya were absolutely horrible to Tia while I was gone. So when she was 18, Tia moved out and she stayed with me. I've made her get some therapy and done my best to be a good brother, and she's managed to be a lot happier since. Though after that, I basically didn't see our parents or Maya. However, last November, Maya randomly reached out to us. Tia just ignored it, but Maya is still my little sister, so I gave her a chance. In the time without us, she really missed us and realized how spoiled and cruel she was. Okay.
Progress? Question mark.
Are we about to 180 here?
I don't know. Are we?
I don't know.
Let's see.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I am doubtful, but she did. The first step of progressing as a person is admitting your wrongs.
Exactly. First step is awareness.
Apparently, part of how she treated Tia was jealousy of how I was so close with her, but not Maya. Though it obviously doesn't justify it. She had felt guilty for a while, but was scared to reach out in case we'd reject her. She felt really sincere and was really apologetic and seemed ashamed. I forgave her, and we started talking a lot. I became close to Maya really quickly. We get along great now, and we're actually pretty similar. Or is she mirroring?
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, someone read a therapy book and got some new terms. Yeah.
All right.
Don't look at me like that.
Unfortunately, Tia refuses to forgive her or even respond. I think she's being a little unfair, but I understand how she feels. From talking, I noticed that Maya seems to be having a hard time at home. She wasn't going to say anything, but ended up spilling when I pressed on her. Our parents basically turned on her the moment we left. She wasn't the gold child anymore and had to suffer from our parents' BS. Honestly, I'm ashamed to admit, but I never considered how our parents would treat her with us gone. With how horrible our parents are, I wanted to ask her to move in with me. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm the renter. The rental agreement and bills and everything are all under my name. Tia contributes, but since she's still in university and my little sister is much less and unofficial, when I brought up the idea, Tia was furious. She rejected it. I tried to compromise and talk, but it went nowhere. So, in the end, I told Tia I'm offering and that she can be civil or I can help her move somewhere else. Maya accepted, coming to stay next week, and Tia is pissed and feels I'm choosing the golden child over her. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that because time and time again, Tia's, whatever Tia wanted was dismissed over and over and over.
Right. Dang.
Two things here. One, I feel like Tia needs an apology from Maya, or at least get on the same page like OP did with Maya. Two, is Maya playing a little game here?
Ooh.
Is she trying to get in so she can... What's the bird that, plants her baby egg into the nest of the other ones and then pushes out the other babies?
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
Oh, that's a thing. I think a couple birds do that, actually.
Yeah.
I think conversations always help, right?
Yeah.
I mean, talking about it somehow, trying to come up with, a solution altogether that everyone would be happy about, that's always, a great option. But I don't know. It's just a tough situation.
But I'm not. Maya is suffering and I want to help. She's a different person now. I understand Tia's hurt and I get her anger, but Maya also needs me right now. Tia is angry and her friends think it was an a-hole move, but Maya is my sister and I don't think it's wrong to help her. I helped Tina back then too. Edit. I went to sleep with post-stopping and didn't expect to wake up to all this. There were so many, so I wasn't sure how to respond to everyone, so I just left it. Read and thought through it a while. Here are a few things to clear up. Maya isn't lying about this. I know my parents and Maya didn't even want to tell me about her issues at home. There is basically no chance at all. There is basically no chance it's a lie, and she has tried and tried to talk to and apologize to Tia. Tia just won't let her.
Dang.
I know what she did in the past was horrible, but she isn't just manipulating me to hurt Tia. Maya genuinely hated how she was and just wants to live somewhere else and be safe, happy, and loved. I get it wasn't enough, but the timeline was admittedly poorly written. We started discussing it last month. She knew this decision for a couple of weeks. While I now see it as misguided and cruel, it wasn't just a week. I don't know if it's appropriate to go into depth, but Maya's acts against Tia were verbal and psychological.
Dang.
It was disgusting, and I don't know how deeply it hurt Tia. Our parents were mostly really neglectful, aside from verbal/emotional abuse, and rewarding Maya for being the golden child. Being perfect and cruel meant she would get their love, which neither of us did. Thanks for everyone for their perspectives. I didn't realize how naive I was being in thinking this would work out. I'm going to try to see if friends can take Maya in for now, and maybe if she can get her own place, I'm going to try to be there for them and ask Tia to forgive me for being so short-sighted and stupid. I hope it can eventually work things out, but like people are saying, it might just be a stupid pipe dream. I think the best plan is to help get Maya a cheap flat or something nearby. I'll help out where she needs it. Update. I want to see how this turns out after OP denies Maya staying in their house. I just want to know what happens. Will she freak out and be weird, or will it all be okay because she's going to a different place?
Right. Because she's had a change in character a bit. Do you think that would make her just kind of undo all of that work?
Yeah.
And just kind of go back? But that's hard because I do understand Tia's feelings with having that resentment towards them and then the whole situation. That's not really something that would be easy to see. If someone treats you poorly, you don't want to see them succeed, really.
Jealous
especially if you're not over it.
Yeah, Jealous says they need family therapy. Do you think that would work?
It's worth a shot, honestly. Because, if they had a rough childhood and they had rough parents, then they definitely weren't taught, well, maybe not definitely, but they most likely, didn't learn very good, emotional skills and, coping skills for that stuff and communication, So that would make sense that a lot of this stuff is still built up and that resentment is still, held pretty firmly,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think some kind of therapy would help, whether it's, single one-on-one or if it's family. You know?
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I posted this last year trying to help my golden child sister Maya at the expense of my other sister Tia. I didn't expect so many responses or the hate I got, though I realized how badly I effed up. While I still think how people wrote about Maya was disgusting and unfair, how I treated Tia was cruel and ignorant. I was trying to help everyone and be practical, but I neglected it to properly consider the emotional side. While unintentionally, I was just ignoring Tia's pain and trauma. The responses were a wake-up call, and I realized I was going to ruin everything. While it wasn't meant that way, it would just hurt Tia and ruin our relationship. I managed to convince some of friends to let Maya stay with them and looked for a place. Currently, Tia still lives with me while I found a cheap one-bedroom for Maya. It's been rough financially, but I managed to get everything my sisters need. A few sacrifices don't matter compared to them. Maya helped adjusting and learning to be independent, so I did have to focus on her initially. But Tia absolutely hated me for giving her any attention, and it was extremely difficult at first. But it got a lot better as Maya adjusted and grew more independent, and I could balance my time better. It was not perfect, but we've gotten into rhythm the best way we can. Maya has grown up a lot and can mostly live by herself now, though I obviously still help. Therapy has really helped her. She's made a lot of friends at university.
Oh, good.
All right.
That's great.
I love these updates.
We love therapy.
Dude,
Yay.
yes. While she still wants Tia's forgiveness, she's accepted it's not her control and try not to focus on her living and is focused on her living and improving herself. I'm really happy she's free of our parents' influence. She's nothing like she used to be, though I do wish I had tried harder when she was younger rather than giving up. Tia isn't completely happy. I don't think she'll ever forgive Maya, and I've done my best to make it clear I love her, and Maya isn't my favorite, but it's been hard. We get joint therapy that helps a lot, but she still wishes it was just us. She's finally able to understand that helping Maya isn't rejecting her. I'm so thankful and lucky Tia could forgive me. She means the world to me. I never intended to hurt her, though I clearly completely effed up my approach. We basically just avoid the Maya situation and have managed to get back to normal. She's such a strong woman. I'm honestly so proud of her and so ashamed of how short-sighted I was. And you don't have to be short-sighted because you can listen to stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Look it up. We have plenty of stories.
There you go.
Yeah, dude, therapy's great.
Yes.
I know everyone's kind of weird about forgiveness, but I hope that, I don't know what Maya did to Tia, but I hope that one day Tia can, maybe not be friends with her, but just forgive Maya. They don't have to talk. They don't have to be buddies, but that she can just forgive her and just so she doesn't have this weight on her.
Yeah.
I hope that one day.
Yeah, get rid of all the hate and the anger and just let it go.
Yeah. It is tough. I mean, I don't know what happened, but dang.
Yeah.
But Tia, I'm just glad the sisters are out of the house. I think that's it.
Yeah. That's good. And therapy's always great too. I love the therapy updates.
Yeah, me too.
It's such a sigh of relief because it's
oh yeah,
Reddit can only do so much, So
yeah, as selfish as it is, a part of me will always wish Tia could forgive her, but I know that's impossible and selfish. I don't think Tia will ever fully accept that Maya is a part of my life. The most I'll get is Tia and Maya being in one building or my wedding, but honestly, that's enough for me. They're both victims of our parents, and I'm just glad they can both be happy and free. While it's not a fairy tale ending, everything is going well. And I'm glad I posted and I was able to fix my horrible mistake.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good.
And that's it. No more there.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is incredible. Dude, good for you. I mean, you sacrificed a lot to get your sisters out of there. And
absolutely.
Good for you, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's a lot of weight to put on yourself, too. So it's
yeah.
Have some forgiveness with yourself of making mistakes here and there because you're a victim of the parents too, right? You're not their parent. So, but yeah, good on you, OP. I think you handled that really well.
Yeah,
really well. You saw your mistakes, you apologized for them and worked through it, and you're doing everything that you can.
My husband is cruel, and I finally snapped out of it. Give it to him, girl.
Nice.
My husband, 29 male, and I, 23 female, have not spoken in 2 days now. For the past year that we've been married, my husband threatens to divorce me and calls me cruel names on a weekly basis. Dump him immediately. This comes from the user deleted on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So over the last 12 months, I've been called punt and more at least 10 times a week. This is unacceptable. When he threatens divorce, it always is followed up by him convincing me that he is 100% done with the marriage, telling me he wishes he could have cheated, that he doesn't love me anymore, and that he hates me. What a great guy. This is always later apologized for. He tells me he loves me and he was just saying hurtful things because I just made him angry, but he didn't mean any of it. I always forgive him, but this time something in me snapped good. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was met with the same cruelty I am all too familiar with. Thursday night, he accused me of cheating because I sent a frowning emoji to my boss after he informed me I made a mistake at work. Yeah. The most telltale sign of cheating, you send a frowning emoji. That's not even a positive emoji. I wasn't and wouldn't. He instantly claimed that he wanted a divorce. He didn't try to discuss anything, left me no room for elaboration. I tried explaining that it's an emoji. There's nothing spicy or flirty about it. Just a simple response to the mistake my boss informed me of. He said that there was a 3-strike policy in our marriage, and that was my 3rd strike. What was the first one? You said thank you to a barista giving you a coffee? Oh my God. No. The other 2 were things from when before him and I were even dating, let alone married. Okay, not even gonna go there. I tried.
What?
Yes.
Why would you, if the red flags were before you were dating, why are you dating him? Did I hear that right?
It happens.
It's the rose-colored tinted glasses.
Rose-tinted glasses. The best of us get hit with it. I tried arguing and telling him that this wasn't making sense, but he stayed silent and just held up 3 fingers, implying my strikes.
What?
I'm sorry. I don't know what this man's face looks like, but I know it's punchable. Keon, we can agree on that, right, brother?
Oh, yeah.
Strikeable. My God. Yeah, strikeable. I see what you did there. I ended up going to my mom's house for the night. I couldn't mentally handle much more because we both knew I wasn't flirting or cheating, and him using things with other men from before we were even together did not make sense. These were also things that he has long known about. I started to have a panic attack. Oh no. Ended up vomiting and I felt like I couldn't breathe. This has been happening lately every single time we argue like this. He told me I was a regret right before I walked out of the house, and that was the last I heard from him until Friday morning. At 3 a.m., I saw him leave the house on our Ring camera and tried to ask him where he was going. I got no response, so I tried calling. The many calls I made to him, he ignored every single one, and I ended up texting multiple times. By the time I had gave up, I had called him over 100 times. I went to work. I started at 4 a.m. and saw him come back on the Ring camera. All he ended up doing was going for snacks, but with him saying our marriage was over the night before, I was worried he's going to see a woman and panicked. Yeah, he says snacks, but I don't trust him. I think he might have been using, yes, this could have been way more malicious, even if he's just making you think it's something more malicious. Since he kept ignoring me, I provided proof of how I talk to female coworkers versus my male boss. I sent him multiple screenshots of the many emojis I send to female coworkers that I am friendly with, and how I respond a lot more frequently and with much more than a simple emoji to women. I also provided times that employees of mine have straight crossed a boundary, and I set them straight. He didn't reply to any of my messages still. I went home after work Friday and tried to talk with him. He was still sticking to telling me our marriage was over and kept on calling me a punt. I did get pushy. I kept trying to talk with him. I tried to slap him for the way he was speaking to me, which he easily dodged. I went back to work later on that night to pick up some overtime. I still hadn't heard word from him by 8 p.m., so I gave up. I texted him telling him that I wish him the best and that if this is what he really wanted, then I'd sign the divorce papers and we could have a simple divorce. Boom! Love that. I would take what's mine and he would keep what's his. He bought the house, so I'd simply move out as I have the means to. Well, he replied an hour later telling me that I betrayed him, but he doesn't want a divorce.
This guy's the worst.
Through the moon, through the Oort cloud, through the black hole, straight to the most evil dungeons where he's locked away his ethereal spaghetti for the rest of his days.
Just a big pile of spaghetti.
Eternal torture. We got into an argument about it, and in summary, it was me doing most of the talking and him replying with cool or okay to the paragraphs that I sent.
You leave this guy. Leave this creature in the pits that you pulled him out of.
Eventually, he gave me the actual response, but it felt to me like he played games with me until the very end. He eventually did admit that he was being toxic in his own words.
Okay.
That's not enough.
Oh,
Hey,
I'm
babe,
glad he sees the light now. Wow.
Right.
that is not enough.
We talked it out, and I reassured him many times that he knows me better, and I love him very much. I told him also that I'd be going back to my mom Saturday, but it was for a visit since I had just slept at her house, and I wasn't leaving because I was angry. I was feeling bad about it still, so when we were both home from work the next morning, I tried to talk to him about it all. I told him I felt unloved and disrespected. I felt as if I am constantly walking on eggshells because I know that if he gets angry, it is always the same response from him. I told him that even though we argue, we're married and the love is supposed to come above all else. I told him that I can't trust that he won't act like this again since we've had this same argument many times before. Lastly, I told him that I can't take him threatening divorce anymore. He told me he's simple and I know what doesn't anger him, so I just need to stop doing those things.
No. No.
We need to do the thing that is kicking your butt to the curb. That is exactly what we need to do.
This absolute sweetie pie is living in an idealized reality where she sees the perfect version of her relationship with this guy, which she might have had at one point, and it's not there anymore, and it's not coming back. And even if he could bring it back, he doesn't deserve the second chance after the way that you've described him treating you.
Not at all. The rose-tinted glasses, and he probably knew he had the rose-tinted glasses and ramped it up and twisted it to keep it there too, and just
And to all of our beautiful, perfect baby viewers, if this story is at all reminiscent to a situation you may think that this kind of sounds familiar, get out of that.
Please
Or
run.
if you know someone in
out
a
of
similar situation, tell them to get out of it too.
Tell
Help
them to run.
Yeah.
Sometimes people who are in these situations, they just straight up don't know how to recognize it.
Something about human nature, sometimes we just get the glasses. And it's
big, complicated primate brains that sometimes don't work in our best interest.
Yeah, they make us steal ice cream.
So, with all that being said, sorry, I just had to get that out there. Let's
important.
continue on.
Tell a friend. Send him this story. There you go. I told him that I don't know, and I bluntly told him that he is not simple. Talk about that. There's been so many instances of me pissing him off without intending to at all, and he snaps all the same. It could be over vape juice or me hearing something he says over the phone incorrectly. He then got angry with me because I said I wanted to talk, but all I do is argue with anything he says, which I guess is true, but I didn't agree with what he said and was trying to openly express how I was feeling and why. I tried to leave it as opinionated as little as possible and just provided examples to him. He ended up telling me to shut the F up, so we got into a heated argument. I was yelling at this point, and I told him he's just doing the same disrespectful crap that he just apologized for. He responded by calling me names. He ended up telling me I'm the world's biggest punt. Yup, 14. Send him through all the layers of hell. Told me he wanted again a divorce, which again he just apologized for. My God. I ended up leaving for my mom's and didn't text or call him.
Yes.
Saturday night, he texted me saying, for the sake of both of us, he hopes I can get my head right, and told me that he can't deal with the emotional flashbacks I keep having.
What do you mean emotional flashbacks, idiot? You had the flashback. You flashed back to the guy you were 10 minutes ago.
10 seconds ago.
Like,
you are the flashback, sir. You are the flashback. He told me he loved me with everything and that he was wrong for how he spoke to me, but I have to stop. The text made me so sick reading it, I never responded. By the way, we want to never respond to this guy as much as we want you to always respond to our invitation to join our lives every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. We're live on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok. Guys, come on in. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Speaking of hanging and talking, I want to hang and talk with you, Dakota.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've basically said this in many different versions, but it's like this man ain't worth the scum of the feces of the bottom of the depths of hell. Like, just this guy saying this guy sucks is just, there's just no English words that can be combined to communicate the level of how hard this man sucks. And OP is an angel and deserves the best guy ever, who's the antithesis of this.
Indeed.
What else? I mean, that, right?
For anyone who finds himself in a relationship and they feel like I'll never find another person, or I won't find someone as good as this person, and like they are actively treating you like this guy, get out immediately.
I mean,
and also the thing is, this guy, when you leave him, because remember, as he was like, I want a divorce, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as she went, all right, let's do the divorce, he goes, no, wait. Actually, no, I don't want the divorce. So as soon as you actually do commit to breaking this guy off, he's going to go full blown, like he's going to blow up your phone, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. So you need to cut all means of communication with this guy instantaneously and disappear from the face of his stinky earth.
He literally deserves nothing.
He deserves to have you no longer in his life permanently. That's what he deserves.
I like that.
And you gotta be aware that even after he's been calling you all this bad stuff, he's gonna come knocking. And you gotta, don't listen to a word this guy says.
And literally OP, she was like trying to be empathetic and like, oh, here's the breakdown. Imagine when she actually has a partner that's like actually a decent human being. It's going to be so beautiful.
Yes.
Because OP has the heart and the empathy, and we can tell that OP is a great person, but it's her own kindness that this man just like so disrespected and used her for.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yes.
But we have a little bit left in the story. I didn't come home until Sunday night when I knew he'd be at work, and left before he got home this morning. He only sent that one text Saturday night, and that has been his only effort of contact since. I am about to give up completely and refuse to be the one to put in effort this time. I feel like his effort never matches mine, and no matter who is in the wrong, I always have to be the one to make it right. I know that not responding to his text and avoiding him is probably childish, but I just want to see his effort. So am I the a-hole for not speaking to my husband? Should this just be the end of our marriage?
Ding, 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 ding.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. It should be the end of your marriage. No, you are not the a-hole for not talking to your literal scum of the... What's worse than scum? Like,
dude, I mean, I was
just
trying
like
to...
black tar. Like
human
of a
language
soul.
can't communicate. It's just, he's just so low.
Dump that man.
Wipe our hands of him. Get
Dump
on
that
out of here.
smelly man.
Yo.
And yeah, not always that simple, but at the end of the day, it's like sometimes you got to just make the decision.
It's what he deserves.
My brother-in-law wants me to babysit at their wedding, so they're forcing me to sit at the kids' table.
Oh, you mean the cool table?
Yeah, the kids' table's lit. Anything goes to the kids' table.
Yeah,
You can have a food fight there.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, dude. Invite me to the kids' table. So my female 28 husband, male 30, and I were invited to my husband's brother's wedding in the new year. For some context, we do not live in the same country as his family. We live in the U.S. and they live in the U.K. And we were trying to save for a house, so we really weren't planning on going on a holiday this year. By the way, this comes from Comprehensive Sale 863 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, wedding is in July 2024, and truth be told, I'm rather excited for this trip. I love his family and the UK, but my husband is stressed as it's going to cost us a lot of money, upwards of $5,000, including flights, hotel, at the wedding venue, trains, etc. Also, for some more important backstory info, my husband's family hate each other. I mean a nasty divorce that led to parents not speaking to each other for years. Most of the siblings, including brother-in-law, sided with the mom in the divorce. However, my husband has made a point to not choose and is very close to both parents still. Both parents have new families and younger kids. Now, 3 months ago, my husband's mother told us that we would be sitting at the table with all the other siblings. Most siblings are under 15 years old. The youngest is 8. My husband asked if we could potentially sit with his dad's side of the family or his grandparents, who we are all very close to. However, his mother told him that we are the only neutral family members, so therefore we need to sit with the siblings as this is their first time meeting. The wedding party is worried about potential family drama arising. My husband and I were fine with this as long as we were sitting together. However, a few days ago, my brother-in-law asked my husband to be a groomsman, to which he accepted. I was thrilled for my husband as he isn't super close to his brothers. I asked where I will be sitting now that he would be at the wedding party's table. So So like she's like, okay, like I'm fine sitting at the kids table as long as my husband's there. But now husband is a groomsman. My husband just shrugged and said they likely won't move tables around that much. I asked the bride, who said I was still sat with the siblings. I asked politely if I could be moved to the table with the grandparents. Again, I am extremely close to them. The bride politely told me that I am the only neutral party who has met all the siblings, so I could manage the questions and potential arguments arising. Again, this is the first time they are all meeting. I told her that I appreciate this is something that is worrying her, but I am not spending thousands of dollars to be a babysitter. She said she understood, but the seating is final. We argued a little more, but she ended the argument by saying I should be happy to be sitting with the kids because I work with kids and I should be flattered. The family trusts me enough with this responsibility.
So are they going to like pay for me to come there then?
Yeah. If this is work, I want to be compensated. How about you make my trip free? Huh? Yeah. Elemental says they'd have to pay me $5,000 to attend at this point. Like Sophia, how much did you charge for babysitting one kid?
My most recent babysitting gig was around $21 an hour.
Okay, so 21 times 15, that's my hourly price. That's like $300
That's a
an
lot
hour.
of math. I don't know how to do it.
That's like, I think that's what you should charge, OP. I began to argue, but the bride snapped that if I hated kids this much, I shouldn't have become a teacher. Please don't get me wrong. I love his siblings, but all at least 15 years younger than I am. I also love kids. I am a teacher, but I want to relax and have a good time at this wedding. I also forgot to mention there will be cousins and kids from the bride's family at the table as well. I just made up my mind that I will not be sitting at the kids' table. I'm going to wander the reception, drink, have a good time. I'll be pulling up a chair with the grandparents. I do not think it's a big ask for me to be moved to a table, but maybe I'm wrong. My mom and husband think I am overreacting. My coworkers and friends think I should not be forced to babysit and or manage potential family fights. So, am I the a-hole? There are edits, but do you think OP is the a-hole?
I wouldn't call it a-hole because it's like they just kind of loaded this onto you. You never signed up for it. If you've been like, yes, and the children will be my responsibility because I'm the teacher, and then you were like, actually, I prefer to hang out with Gramps all day. I'm going to leave him by himself. Then you'd be the a-hole.
Yeah, but like this responsibility was thrusted upon you.
Foisted.
Oh, wow, Reddit, this post is getting some attention. More than I thought. So I thought I should clarify a few things. 1, unfortunately, we bought the plane tickets already and they are non-refundable, or a refund would have been my first choice. 2, they never formally labeled this table as the kids table. They refer to it as the siblings table. My husband has 3 younger full brothers, including the groom, and they are adults. None of them are sitting at the siblings table. This table is completely made up of half siblings that are 15 and under. I am the one who is calling a spade. I showed my husband this thread, who agreed with you all that I am being treated unfairly. I do want to add, my husband did tell his brother that if I was sitting at the siblings table, he could not be a groomsman already. I told him to not worry about this after my argument with the bride. She's like, hey, go be a groomsman. I'm going to handle this stuff on my own. It's clear they want me there regardless, and that's my frustration. My husband and I are having a conversation with them later today. I will update y'all on the outcome. Edit 2, I have given you all an update. It's a bit of a crazy story. Lots happened, and somehow this small issue turned into a huge one. Please see it on my profile. I can't link it for some reason. This is the previous post. Now on to the updates. I cannot link my original post. I am sorry about that. But for those who haven't been following, my post is still up. All right, first of all, I want to thank you all for the support and advice on my original post. I read every single response. I even showed my husband, who agreed that this situation was simply ridiculous and that the bride was using me for free childcare. What do you think OP should do?
If OP doesn't want to do the kids table, like she needs to put the firm boundary down and be like, I'm not doing this. Or it's like, if you want me to be watching the kids the whole wedding, I'm definitely not doing that. Like you have to find somebody else.
I think it's super unfair to put this on her. And I think clear communication about not doing it before not doing it is a great idea to kind of put the ball in their court. Turns out the issue was deeper than just wanting free childcare. So bear with me. This is going to be a long update as lots of stuff happened yesterday and this morning. But before I get to the update, I need you all to understand some background info. My husband is the second oldest in the family, with 2 younger full brothers. He has 5 half-siblings. The oldest sibling, we'll call him John, cut ties with the family completely about 5 years ago. My husband and I met 10 years ago while I was studying abroad in the UK. We moved back and forth between the US and the UK for 6 years before we got eloped and moved permanently to my home state. His mother has never been supportive of my husband's decision, but she has come to terms with it over the years. His 2 younger full brothers have always been giant mama's boys. They both live within a 5-mile radius of their mom's house. My husband is very good at setting boundaries with his family, which has led to tension between him, his mother, and brothers. My brothers would often make awful comments about how my husband loves their father more than their mother, and that he broke his mother's heart when he moved away. His brothers have never been outright rude to me, but it is blatantly obvious I am not in their inner circle. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details of all the fights between my husband, his father, his mother, and his brothers, but to sum it up, his brothers 99% of the time choose the mom. I mean, Christmas, birthdays, family vacations, etc. The other 1% of the time usually ends with someone making an inappropriate joke about the divorce, followed by massive blow-ups, to which my husband gets in the middle trying to solve the problem. My husband and I mostly spend time with my family as they are close by, but when we do visit his family, we try to divide our time with each family fairly. The bride and groom are very close with the mother, so close that the bride has asked my husband's mother to walk her down the aisle. So on to the update. My husband and I Zoomed with the bride and groom yesterday to address our concerns for those who told me just to sit at the table because they are likely stressed with wedding planning. I helped plan my sister's wedding, so I know moving one seat is not a big deal, and I only asked because my husband wasn't sitting with me anymore. The bride just said that she confirmed with the rest of the family that the siblings will all be under my care during the reception. Get a babysitter.
If you're going to continue to just disregard OP, it's time for shenanigans. I saw really a funny comment. Someone had the idea to tell all of the little kids that there's actually toys hidden around and to go look for them. And so all these kids just break off, start ripping everything apart. And it's like, I don't know why they started doing that.
I have no idea.
No, there's no toy. I don't know. They must have misheard me.
I asked if it would just be my husband's sibling, to which my brother-in-law said, we don't know yet. There are other family members coming and cousins who might want to sit with their cousins. I would then say, so this is the kids' table. And my brother-in-law would say, that's not important. I finally asked, are you going to blame me if any family drama comes up? My brother-in-law just said, that's why you are there, to prevent family drama. So you all were right about that. OP's the scapegoat.
Yeah. It's like if anything goes wrong, look, the horrible teacher can't control the students. It's like...
And she said she was a professional.
Yeah. And
she said she could do it. Okay, Reddit, this is where things got interesting. For those who said we were being punished, bingo. The bride adds my mother-in-law into the chat. She tells me to stop being selfish and that if I had a problem with being at the siblings table, it's clear I have a problem being in the family.
I definitely have a problem coming to your wedding.
I mean, you're not treating me like family. You're treating me like a child, literally.
Yeah. Or like an employee. But an unpaid intern.
An unpaid intern.
You're giving me an unpaid internship, except I have to pay $5,000 up front to be a part of it.
She also said if I'm not willing to mediate potential family-related questions and problems that might arise, I clearly do not care about my brother-in-law and his bride, and that I want to create problems on their big day. My husband was shocked and asked what makes her say that. My mother-in-law then says that it's clear that I've been manipulating my husband away from her family. She accused me of siding with his father in the divorce, and that ever since my husband met me, we have been spending more time with his father's side of the family. I want to mention that their divorce happened almost 20 years ago, and we rarely talked to his father. Her only evidence to this accusation was that I am not willing to openly side with her. I was completely shocked by these accusations. My husband said that these accusations are rude, inappropriate, and demanded my mother-in-law apologize or he will be cutting her off like John did. My mother-in-law started crying. The bride chimed in that we never included them in our wedding. We eloped, and that this was my opportunity to prove myself as a dedicated member as the family. It's hazing.
I mean, I love how now it's like they're like, you're responsible for the drama, and now they're literally whipping up all of the
more drama. That OP's now responsible for.
Yeah.
Obviously, this blindsided me as I genuinely had no idea they felt this way. I always go above and beyond for Christmas and birthday gifts. When we visit, I ensure I dote on their children, and I always take the ladies of the family out for a ladies' brunch. Ladies' brunch.
Lady
mimosas.
time. It's a lady brunch time.
Well, now you can have a fun little kid brunch.
Yeah. Bianca Gill says, if one of the kids knock a glass of red wine at the bride's table, not my problem.
Oops.
I can understand our wedding situation is upsetting, but if my mother-in-law had voiced this to us 4 years ago, we would have hosted a small ceremony or family celebration. My mother-in-law adds that since I wasn't willing to deal with the family drama at our wedding, I should be willing to deal with it for my brother-in-law. I just sat there, jaw on the floor. My mother-in-law snapped, saying she knew the type of person I was from the second I excluded her from her son's wedding, and I am a selfish manipulator who wanted to steal her son from her and destroy her family, and that my husband is enabling me by not insisting I put the family's needs before my own enjoyment and babysit the kids during her other son's big day.
Just really quick, they didn't have a wedding.
They didn't have a wedding.
They eloped.
What does eloping really mean?
You just run off
just
and
run
it's
off
it's
into the
just,
sunset.
there's no ceremony.
You have to run,
no
though.
like
You have to run.
You do have to run with
And then
the
you have
sun.
to freeze frame.
Yeah. And then the credits roll.
Yep. She was hoping my meltdown would show my husband what kind of person I was. Needless to say, we ended up fighting for a few more minutes before my husband slammed the computer down, and my husband and I chatted for a moment. He apologized for his family and reassured me he knows none of those things his mother said were true. We turned our phones off and had a date night. John, male 32, my husband's older brother, got in contact with us through Instagram this morning. His wife gave me a call and we talked for hours about what happened. Apparently, the reason they left the family was because my mother-in-law did something similar to John's wife. We will call Sandy, female 32. Sandy didn't want a big wedding due to drama on her family's side and decided to have a small ceremony with their friends. She invited my mother-in-law, who refused to attend because my father-in-law would be there. My mother-in-law threatened Sandy she would make sure John left her if Sandy didn't exclude John's father from the wedding.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure you can make that happen?
I mean,
do you have that much influence? Just like, hey.
I mean, she's a crazy mother-in-law. She could make a lot of stuff happen, it seems like.
She's like, I'm going through a spat right now. You have to leave your husband.
You have to. Meg Carter says, control freak. Secret Waller says, mother-in-law is the type of person to hate her kids' significant others. Yeah, unless this significant other like brings them into the family even closer. Yeah. But as soon as like they're spending time with their own family, nah. Sandy didn't want to listen and went through with their wedding as planned. Mother-in-law accused Sandy of cheating and baby trapping John. Sandy was pregnant at the time. My mother-in-law stalked Sandy and took photos of her out with her friends and with her brother, sending them to John as proof of her infidelity. Mother-in-law posted these photos to Facebook, captioning, "Caught you, cheater."
Is this like criminal harassment? I feel like this is criminal behavior right here.
Oh,
Is that what
my
is
God.
that? Slander is when it's spoken, right?
And
Or is it
libel is
technically
libel.
libel because
Libel.
this is a Facebook
This
post?
is libel. Yeah, it's written. Oh my God. She was not lying. Low key, she means business.
Yeah.
That was not an idle threat. That was well planned.
Yeah, but dirty business.
Dirty business.
Dirty business.
Relatives began harassing both John and Sandy. John and Sandy moved away and blocked everyone and have not been in contact with mother-in-law's side of the family ever since. I don't remember this at all, as I had only been with my husband for a year at that point, and he didn't want me involved with the family drama. Obviously, I feel awful that this happened to John and Sandy, but they assured me they forgive both me and my husband, I guess for not knowing. Long story short, Sandy and John are still in contact with the father, how they found out about our situation. John and my husband had a long phone call this morning to which my husband apologized for enabling his mother. My husband has gone no contact with his mother and brothers for now, and we were going to use our trip to visit my old friends from uni and visit John and Sandy. I am really excited to meet them. By the way, if you're excited to meet us, you can join us live every weekday, 3 p.m. PST, right here on YouTube and Facebook. And we're probably live right now, so tap our profile.
Give us a gander, but not before we
There's another
finish
relevant
this story.
update. For those who made it this far, thank you for reading this. Small problem ended up revealing a much larger issue. I'm thankful for this community for pushing me to push back. Sometimes I can be a little shy and overly forgiving. Looking back, the signs were all there and I just ignored them. I'm very hurt as I really want to have a relationship with my husband's family, but I know I deserve better. Again, thank you. And if anything else happens, I will keep you updated. And that is where this story ends.